What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the SuperScope podcast, your wrap up in this week's biggest gaming stories, leaks, and rumors. We're back for episode 31 on Sunday, May 15th, 2022. I am your host, Retro Game Dude, and of course, always joining me is my co host, Daisuke Aurora of Phoenix Aurora Gaming. Sir, how the hell are you doing this week?
Yeah, doing good, the usual.
Just having a normal one?
Yeah, same old.
Right. Feel free to join the discussion live on Twitch and Discord. And if you're watching this on YouTube, tap that like and subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously and it goes a long way. And of course, we appreciate it deeply. And let us know what we missed in the comments. We got a big ass show tonight, and we're going to be talking about the Nintendo indie stuff tonight. So buckle up. It's going to be a long one. Why do we know that this is going to be a long one? Because we had a little bit of an oops earlier where my microphone wasn't on and recording. So we're re-recording the intro. Because we had a little bit of an oops there, and that's all right. We missed maybe the first couple minutes of the show. So if you notice like a weird jump cut in the video or a weird audio cut in the audio version of this, shit happens, and so that's where we're at with this. You can also find this audio version on Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Let's talk about the state of the stream. So last week we played a lot of Lego Star Wars on Tuesday and Wednesday. We are wrapped up to about the end of episode 5. We'll be landing on Dagobah. So Luke Skywalker can get formally trained, and I'm sure that'll be an 8-second scene.
Yeah,
like they did with the most pivotal scenes in Star Wars.
God.
But yeah, we'll be back this Tuesday as well to finish that up. I'm guessing pacing wise, we'll probably be done with it. No, we won't. You know why? Because we still have 3 more episodes. I completely forgot about episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Yep,
The
that's a
bastard of
fair
the
thing to
series.
do.
Yeah, it's fair to forget about it. Well, so much for that. So, the silly revelations you have 2 hours after originally streaming this. So, that's where we are with that. And of course, Jackbox. We had a great time. Big turnout. We had a lot of good new friends in the voice chat, so that was a fun time. Played a couple new Jackbox games. Devil in the Details, I think we played once on stream. Didn't have fun with it, and we banned Cheeto Puff for it. Well, we've timed him out.
Dude, I had fun watching you guys play Devil in the Details because nobody knew what they were doing, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, we did have a good time. That's
There was
fair.
people frustrated, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I do? People in chat are typing I don't know what's happening. What are we doing? And then there's all your objectives are just failing and coming off the list because you didn't
Right.
do them. I was like,
But
oh my god, this is incredible.
and Cheeto Puff and I made a deal that if the game sucked, that we would time him out for a minute. And I was fair, and I let it go to vote. Um, both answers were yes, ban him, but that's fine. That doesn't
That's
matter.
democracy, though.
That's democracy. It was still a majority vote.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, we had a good time. I'm glad everyone came out, and I'm hoping everyone else had fun. We did try to play Rift Tracks last night, but unfortunately that game didn't work. So I'm going to try and troubleshoot that. We might do a couple playtests just in the Discord and see how that goes until we actually go live with it next Saturday. Hopefully, I'll have it for next Saturday. If it doesn't, I don't get it working on my computer. I always have the PlayStation or a Switch as a backup. We can video capture it. Not the most ideal, but it's something we can still do. So that's where we are with that. And then, hey, guess what? Next Sunday is a podcast. This podcast, the SuperScope podcast. We talked about doing a Discord movie night. We just watched The Goonies, and I'm letting you pick the next one. And we have it down to a couple different movies, and I'm leaving it in your hands. So, what do you think you have on deck?
I think it's going to be Your Name by Makoto Shinkai.
Cool.
Phenomenal movie, really well done. I think you'll appreciate it. It's if say for example in a couple of hours you end up really liking a story-driven anime-based video game during a sizzle reel, you'll appreciate Your Name.
No doubt. I love the time
Just,
travel mechanics that we have going on here right
just,
now.
just speculating if maybe there's a cool game buried in a sizzle reel for no
There
reason.
might be. There might be. All the more reason to keep glued to the screen and watch. Yeah, no doubt. So, Jesus Christ. What are you playing this week? Obviously, we're playing Final Fantasy 14 together. What else do you?
Yep. Mostly this week was Final Fantasy 14, the new raid, obviously, because you get a weekly clear, you get a weekly item for it,
Mm-hmm.
which you just cashed in all yours the other day. We finally got you all caught up.
Just about. Yeah, I'm like,
Um,
what, 1 point behind you now?
yeah, you're like right on my tail
That's
now.
not too bad.
And then we did, a couple experts, which I probably should do one tonight or tomorrow or something. I don't know. But
Yeah, I kind of want to do one after the stream.
yeah, I think so. I think it's a good call.
Just,
But yeah,
I need to level up my bard,
that
too.
I did a little bit of Vampire Survivors just to burn time one night. I opened Steam and I believe I played something weird, but I can't remember what it was. I did have an alpha version of that game Bow that I keep talking about, which I did play a little bit the other night too.
Cool.
I can't really talk about it, but I can tell you that
That's fair.
short of a little polish, it's really good, and I
Nice.
think you're gonna enjoy it when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. You can tell me a little bit about it. Obviously, I haven't seen any of it yet, but it sounds promising. So
Yeah, it's if you're a fan of Hollow Knight, it's got that style. If you're a fan of like Okami, it's got that art style, more or less. Not quite as cell shaded, but definitely along that line.
that's fair.
And you can, I mean, if you go look up the studio or the game Bow, there's a Steam page, I believe, with like the coming soon, and they have a little bit of video or some footage or some still shots you can see. So there's definitely you can get a feel for what it looks like and how it plays.
I'm excited. Do they have like a roadmap as far as development
I'm
and
not
expectations?
sure.
Okay.
Let me. It's one click away in Discord. So the studio is called Squid Shock Studios, and they do have a Discord server. So feel free to
Cool.
go hop in there if you want to check out the conversation about the game and all the other stuff they're doing in there. Um, as far as a roadmap goes, I'm not sure. I know that they've done more than one alpha by now. And they've had, I believe if you go on Twitch, you can find a streamer named I think it's Gaijin Goomba played the
Mhm.
first alpha on stream with their permission.
Hmm.
So you can see that as well.
Interesting.
Um, I don't know their time frame, but mechanically and like thematically, the game is pretty sealed up as far as I can tell. I don't think they need. I don't. I think the development now is probably developing like the story and levels, not so much like the core mechanics. I think the core of the game is fairly ready to go, in my opinion.
Very cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Um,
And outside of that, I mean, I think like I was gonna play a mobile game on my phone, and I decided not to because it was like another gotcha game.
right.
I saw an ad for that game Dislight, and I was like, "That looks interesting, but it looks like a gotcha game." And then I looked
Mhm.
at it closer, and they were like, "It's absolutely a gotcha game." And I was like,
It's all mobile. It's gonna be
"Somebody's
shit. Like I'm
they,
just
they pour all this money and effort into these cool looking cinematics and animations, and then it's like it's a gotcha game." It's like okay,
depressing.
god damn it. And what was the other one? I just saw like the Tails game we talked about last week, where there was like a Tails game, but it was a gotcha game or something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And now I just saw another one that was like on the Play Store. They were like taking reserves on it. They're like, hey, like sign up to be like notified when it's ready. But it was like I forget. It was it's like Nino Kuni, but on mobile. And I'm like, oh
Yes.
no, it's gonna be a gotcha, isn't it? And I don't know how they would do it, but like they always end up that way.
Right.
So I'm like kind of worried that
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna be.
I got into it with someone on TikTok. Like I was like, oh, I was excited for this game until I saw it was on mobile, and like someone was like, well, it's going to be on PC too, and I'm like, that doesn't make it not shitty.
Yeah,
Like
I was gonna say,
they could still put
Genshin is on PC
gacha
and
mechanics
PS4 and everything, and
right,
it's still a gotcha game.
right, and it was originally
Yep.
slated for just mobile, so it's like they made a decision after it was already in development to put it on PC too. So, I mean, writing's on the wall there.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of like Nino Kuni's like maybe a trailer or two of the game
Mhm.
functioning because I am very worried that it's gonna just be some weird gotcha game. Like even out, Nino Kuni had the familiars, and I'm worried that's gonna be like a gotcha machine to like get the good familiars. So
100%.
yeah,
Um,
hopefully not. But you're probably more right than wrong on that.
yeah. As far as what I'm playing this week, I just bought a PS1. It's the compact little guy that they made towards the end of the life of the PlayStation. Um, I enjoy it. That, and I regret trading it in when I had one. I should have kept it. But I got one now, and I broke out Mega Man X4 and Brave Fencer Musashi. That was a great interim final game between Final Fantasy 7 and 8. That was I had a lot of fun playing that game. I remember it being a little harder back then. Maybe I just because I'm older now, but I burned through like the first part of the game today, so had a lot of fun with that. But as we will talk about, this week went very fast, and
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
it just like this time just got away from me, man. I don't know how it happens. So I haven't really played that much else beyond that. But I've got a stack of games. I've got Chrono Cross here. That finally came from Play Asia. I love how it's a non ESRB screen, so there's no ratings on the front cover. God damn, I love that. So yeah, I got a stack of games behind me. I've been buying for the Switch. So big back catalog that I'll be working on this week. Because you'll find out to see eventually in this podcast, there's not much coming out this week. So we'll see
Yeah.
there. And for sponsors, if you are into modding game systems like I am, head on over to Handheld Legend. Use code RetroGameDude at checkout. You get $10 off. I get a little taste of that, and you get to build cool shit like this. And because of the green screen, it doesn't really work. But backlit Game Boy Color, hell yeah. So if you're into that stuff, they got all kinds of gaming accessories, parts for modding consoles, all that stuff. And you can also use handheldlegend.com/retrogamedude and also get that $10 off. Helps me out, helps the channel out, and I can dump that money back into this and improve the quality of it. So
Definitely.
there we go.
I have one too this week.
Oh,
So we also are brought to you by Wendy's barbecue sauce. Not the whole company, just the barbecue sauce.
No, I love it.
So what happened was I went to Wendy's and they gave me like 5 of these and I didn't need any. And I'm pretty sure that was just like they sponsored me and didn't really tell me anything. That's all. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. That's got to be what it was.
Nice.
They must have seen SuperScope and been like, yeah, let's give him barbecue sauce.
That's fair.
So yeah, there you go.
I did forget to mention one thing. I finally got my Chrono Cross in the mail, so we're going to be playing that. Yep. I got a huge stack of games this last month, so I'll be posting about those on other various social medias. And I might do Chrono Cross after we wrap up Star Wars. I'm not really sure what I got next there. I haven't really been in the mood to play Destiny. Nothing's really like pulling me back into that game right now.
Yeah, I have not gotten on Destiny since the first few weeks where I was playing the couple missions they let me play, and then I was doing like stuff with Dan, and then we didn't really do that for like a month or like 6 weeks now. I think I don't know. I mean, it's already bad enough that if you guys if you're not interested in playing it and you actually have the Witch Queen in the season, then I'm not missing anything, I guess.
No, well that's the thing. They have like the Guardian games going on, and it's like I could go on and like grind out for the armor sets that I'll never wear, ghost shells that I'll never use. I'm at a point where it's like I can't really get anything else out of the game. Like I don't know, I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
So
no, I hear you. That's why. I mean, like I said, I have a whole bunch of GameStop credit that I'm sitting on that I was going to buy that with, and I haven't seen like an incentive to do it yet. So I mean, I guess we'll see. You should finish Tunic.
I should because I canceled my Game Pass, and we'll talk about why today.
Oh yeah. Wait, did you only have Tunic on Game Pass, or did you buy it?
I only had it on Game Pass.
When's your Game Pass run out?
Next
because you
month.
Canceled it, you have until the end of the cycle, right?
Yeah, so next month.
Yeah,
end of next month.
So you should definitely finish Tunic while you can finish it.
Sure.
yeah, definitely.
I didn't get to play much more of that Citizen Sleeper this week. I'll tell you what, this week came and went fucking fast, dude.
Dude, the last 3 weeks I feel like it's been like that with us. We keep getting on podcasts and being like, I guess it's podcast day again.
Yeah, for real.
Like, it's wild.
No doubt.
No, it's crazy.
All right, well, let's wrap.
You know what game I played? You know what game I played yesterday? I made my own game and then played it. I made a game with a rock in it.
The Salt Rock. Oh my god!
And then I played it. I made a let's play of it. It was a walkthrough of the whole game. Oh man,
that's funny as hell.
The things I do for the jokes of the community.
Right, you had to be there, and if you weren't there, then be there next Saturday for our next Jackbox, when all hell breaks loose and we end up making games in the middle of a stream. So, yeah, stop on by. We're live every Saturday 9 p.m. Let's get into some quick headlines this week. We have 505's 505 Games Showcase. That is coming up May 17th. We also have rumors that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to go into development with NVIDIA hiring next-gen developers for a console tool. So, again, rumors, and very, very preliminary stuff. I don't think we're going to see any Nintendo Switch 2 announcements anytime soon. We did see that Nintendo was like, we're apprehensive about a next gen console, and of course, in Nintendo fashion, they're just overthinking it. Really, all it needs to be is a more powerful Switch with backwards compatibility. Problem solved.
Yeah, I've been seeing articles going around talking about people being worried that Nintendo's gonna do like the Wii to Wii U thing, and they're gonna try and the next Switch will be like an extension improvement on Switch that ends up selling really poorly because people will think they don't need it or something.
Right. Oh, and that was the thing too, because
yeah.
it was an accidental announcement during E3 where they whoever got on stage was like, "Oh yeah, this is just an attachment for the Wii," and everyone at Nintendo was like, "Why the fuck did you say that?" And it
Yeah.
completely just derailed the momentum that system would ever have. So,
Yep.
Cheeto Puffs, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. So what else do we have on here? Big leak today. Silent Hill screenshots were leaked, and I cannot show them on this stream because I don't know if they would get DMCA claimed or not. So
Right.
I'm not going to claim. I'm not going to show them on here. I will just say that they're easy to find on the internet. So go search for them. But it sounds like rumors are that there are multiple Silent Hill projects in the works. We don't know what that means yet. That could be a Netflix show. It could be a mobile game. It could be multiple mainline console games. Of course, we don't know yet. So, when more of that news develops, of course, we'll be all over that. So it's been a while, and I think we deserve a Silent Hill game. Being under Sony's umbrella, we don't know if that is going to be a new games as a service thing that they want to do or not, or maybe it's because they have multiple projects going on that they'll do a games as a service and then they'll do a standalone single player game. We'll see.
Here, check this out. Let me throw you a thing in Discord you can bring up about this. There's a little more to the story actually on this one.
Okay.
So here's the spaghetti link that you can click.
Okay.
So it brings out to a Twitter account showing a guy named Ryango Fet24 who mentions that the second of the two screenshots, like in that they showed or whatever, looks like a motion capture actress that Hideo Kojima has recently been spotted taking selfies with.
Interesting.
Which makes people think that Kojima might be on this Silent Hill project.
I'll tell you what, as much as he's saying that they were remaining independent, and there were rumors like cycling around about Kojima Studios being part of PlayStation, because I guess there was like that leaked artwork background of the different game companies and stuff. It would make the most sense for someone like Kojima to either partner or be bought out by Sony. Because as Kojima Studios, he wants to do movies and games. Sony is a one-stop shop for that. You have the movie outlets there. You already have all those deals brokered and ready to rock. And then you have the gaming as well. And if he wants to get into music production, guess what? Sony already does that too. So all of that makes sense. As much as I am against consolidation, I would get it. You know what I mean? So yeah, moving on. But yeah, that looks interesting. That she does look strikingly similar to No Cap actress.
The actual screenshot, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, for sure.
Thanks for bringing that to my attention. But
yeah, well, I googled it to see the pictures, but then I was like, oh, this thing too.
No doubt. So we also have on deck another rumor that Gears of War could be getting the Master Chief Collection treatment. So that'll be interesting to see that. Not a series I've ever been hard into. Not a horrible game. I was never really into the multiplayer, and that was a big facet of that game. We have a Dead Space officially announced for the remake coming January 27th. Weird time to release that, but okay. And I guess it looks like Konami is walking away with big profits this year. Yu-Gi-Oh! Drives a huge margin of those profits. That wasn't for that Yu-Gi-Oh! Game right now. I don't know where they would be. It's like, imagine Yu-Gi-Oh! Carrying your company. And good news, the NFT market has all but crashed. Trading has plummeted by 87%.
Oh, man.
So hopefully this is the beginning of the end of that shit, and we won't have to endure any more of this horse shit in
Dude,
the gaming industry.
it was simultaneously the NFT market dried up and like a whole bunch of crypto collapsed at the same time.
Oh no. Anyway,
Which it's funny because like people are like, oh, but the stock market's doing bad too, and it's like, yeah, but the thing is, the stock market has this weird thing. What do they call it? Regulation, where like it actually ends up being controlled and bounces back in a certain way because it's actually ownership of a company
right.
and a tangible thing that people can do something with instead of a JPEG of an ape who may or may not be juiced.
Whatever that means. So yeah, I guess was it Lunacoin that lost almost virtually
Yeah,
all of its
Lunacoin
value?
went down from 4.98 or four over $4, almost $5 to less than a penny
Oh
per
boy.
coin.
Oh boy.
So if you
Um,
see people with money just posting on Twitter and just saying, "I think I'm broke," just mute them and move on.
yeah.
They're
Um,
correct. So
and we saw was any vendor that was taking Lunacoin seriously just immediately
yeah,
stopped
they were
taking
getting
it.
rid of it. Yeah, they
Um,
basically were like, "Well, we're just letting everyone." But they basically said, "Now that it's under a penny, we're just gonna sell people out or let them change to a different coin and then move on." But like, if you had $500 in Luna coin when it was worth $5 a coin, now you have less than 5 cents of Luna coin. So
mhm.
what are you gonna do? Turn it into 1 bajillionth of a Bitcoin and then be like, "Okay, great. Like, I'm gonna stick with my cryptocurrency though. This is a good call." Like,
Yeah, the cool thing with like real money is that when this happens or like we hit a recession, you can still use your money at all stores. They're not just like, oh, we're not taking that shit anymore.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's not a thing. And trust me, like I am very pro Bitcoin, but all these like forks of these weird other clearly obvious scams, all these like
right.
forks of Ethereum, all this what have you, like the NFTs and shit. Like, come on, like this
Yeah,
is all
I
garbage.
don't I think eventually, yeah, digital currency is probably the way that everybody moves because it's kind of what it is now, right? Like most people just use their pay cards or their bank
Sure.
cards. No one really like handles money that much, or if you do handle money, it's like whatever. But like a lot of people don't handle money. They just have cards, and the
Hmm.
card is tied to a number in their bank account, and that's how much they have. They get direct deposit. They spend on the card. You never actually see money change hands. It's all on
Right.
paper and all digital. So I don't have a problem with like a digital currency, and I just think the problem is trying to be like it's a digital currency with zero regulation. It's like you're asking for this.
Right.
Like you can't have a zero regulation currency. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
you're
and
not
here we
wrong.
are.
And I think
Here we are watching it.
right, and I think that Bitcoin, as long as it's been around, still has to prove itself a lot. Um,
yeah,
ooh, excuse me. That's where
yeah.
we are with that. So those
I've
are the. Oh,
seen.
go ahead.
I've seen little coin projects that are like what are they called? Like I can't remember the name of it. There was one that was done by a college. Like a few dudes at a college did a thing to make it special, and I don't remember the details, so I can't really give specifics.
Hmm.
But they were trying to make it more accountable and less volatile in a way that it wouldn't be exciting to invest in, but it would function like a currency. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It wouldn't be like the stock market where you can ride highs and lows and you can buy and have bear markets and bull markets. But it would be a functional cryptocurrency that's digital, which I think is what a lot of people are looking for. They want like a currency that like I can turn my cash into X coin and not have to worry about that being worthless tomorrow or something.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and I think that for a lot of people that's the big thing. Yeah. So seeing stuff like that happen is cool. But I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. Pi coin maybe. It's like by a Harvard guy, like PI, like the number. Yeah, it was called Pi coin, and they've got like a plan where it's not even really going to be valuable to use as a currency for like the next 6 to 12 months or something because they're spending a bunch of time doing setups and making sure that it has connections and deals to make sure that it doesn't just
Hmm.
become a speculative because they don't want it to be a speculative market because they think that the speculative part is what ruins it. When
A
it's just
hundred
a
percent.
currency and it's not speculative, then it'll be fine.
No matter what market it is, the speculative trading ruins it for everyone,
Right, right.
except for
And we
the
see that with the
few
WATA
pool
Games. We
pool of
see it with
people.
the NFTs. We see it
Exactly.
with any of the housing market. Anything you can speculate on ends up screwing people.
Oil.
But yeah,
Hmm. All right. Let's move on. Let's get into our big, crunchy, chewy, juicy stories of the week. Our first one is it looks like Xbox has announced, or at least I should say Bethesda has announced that Redfall and Starfield will be delayed. And oh no, who could have seen this coming? Not me, who said it
oh, I
four
didn't
months
know about
ago.
Redfall.
Yes. So
No way. Oh
yes,
no.
yes.
What? Oh no.
So at this point, they don't have much coming this year. So um, I don't know. You can go back to at least 5 podcasts so far that we've done in this show where we have talked about how this is just kind of par for the course, and to expect these delays coming, they will come.
Sure.
And I mean, we sat here and talked about it. I've said it on Twitter multiple times, and here we are talking about what people said were not going to happen. And this is just par for the course. So well, yeah, once again, Microsoft and Xbox hit headlines this week. Yet another major studio fails to meet deadlines and expectations. Both Starfield and Redfall have been delayed until the first half of 2023. It looks like people are finally starting to question Microsoft's ability to manage these studios. So it opens a lot of questions. Let's take a look at what we have as far as a history here. We had stories about Perfect Dark, hemorrhaging talent, and having to bring in Crystal Dynamics, who is a Final Fantasy, or was a Final Fantasy studio, Square Enix studio up until a couple weeks ago, which is interesting because I don't know what's going to happen with that. Because the company formerly known as THQ, they're going to be taking over Crystal Dynamics. So I don't know what's going to happen there with Perfect Dark's development, which is
Yeah.
already a mess because it was announced in 2020. We've heard nothing but stories about hemorrhaging talent. We have
Yeah.
Fable, and we've seen articles about that. Marginal progress being made, citing lack of experience in RPGs. Why would you
Oh
have a
yeah, dude,
racing
absolutely.
team, a racing dev team, build an RPG and a racing engine? I
It gives me Battlefield vibes all over again. Remember when the Battlefield crew had to make Anthem or whatever, and
yes,
they didn't have any of the tech in, like the engine didn't even have support for a lot of the things they needed for an RPG. That
right.
yeah, the camera support wasn't there because all they ever do was first person camera. So they were like, we had to build cameras from scratch. We had to build RPG systems from scratch. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a hot mess. Physics like wasn't ready for a lot of it. Like because you don't really move outside of like running and maybe jumping sometimes.
Sure.
Like oh yeah, the whole thing was a hot mess.
And then the biggest disaster I would think in Microsoft history so far is Halo Infinite, and then how that's being released.
Hmm.
We saw it come out. We didn't see it come out. We saw it get delayed for a year and a half, 2 years. They trickled
Yep.
out a multiplayer mode, called it a beta, and then they were like, "Oh, we'll get the full version to you December 6th." So obviously they were down to the wire on getting that out the door. They stories arose claiming that they cut 2/3 of the game. It was in development hell for years. We find out that Microsoft is on this weird 18 month like contract cycle where they're constantly cycling employees in and out, and then you wonder why huge AAA games that they're developing don't get released, because like how do you expect that workflow to continue when you're hopping employees every 18 months? It doesn't make any sense. Um,
Absolutely.
and then we're seeing 6 month seasons. So what we are basically seeing is that Halo comes out. They don't have like a real roadmap. They're like, okay, we released it. Now what? Um, we saw stale events in the first season. The XP system was kind of mucked up, and you have people playing for um, lack of a better term, bounties that don't really have anything to do with the game that they're playing. So you have people playing for these XP bounties, and they don't really jive with the game style. So you have people that are like just doing X, Y, and Z instead of the actual game objective.
Yeah,
Still no
like
co-op. Still no
oh my
Forge.
god.
The PC version is still a shit show. It's still glitched up. It's still a mess. There's still cheaters. Um, at this point, I've even said on Twitter, like at this point, do they even bother developing further for Halo Infinite at this point? I would say
Yeah,
if they don't execute season 2 or season 3 very well, I don't see this game surviving.
right. We have like even in our community, like I'm a big Halo fan in general, or I used to be prior to like Halo like 4 days.
Sure.
Dark is a big competitive gaming fan. He loves anything with a competitive edge to it. Claire's a big Halo fan from back in the day, and she still was a Halo fan. All three of us picked up Halo Infinite, and none of us played it outside of a week.
Hmm.
Um, I found it boring and put it down very quickly. Dark, I think, said nobody wanted to play and he didn't find it interesting. And there was a lot of problems. And then Claire even said like you were falling through floors, going through maps, hits were getting around corners in weird ways, kills were happening in weird locations, things were just all over the place. And the solution to it was like, oh, well, here's the battle pass. But then the battle pass was like, do I get things for playing games? Like, no, you only get it for like doing challenges. And it was like, so you're telling me just to log on once a week and do like, or once a season even, and like play 10 games of this mode, get 30 kills with this weapon, okay, and then just don't play anymore? Like,
Sure.
okay, that's fine. I'll just not play anymore.
Right. It makes no sense, you see?
Unhinged to have a season pass you can just complete, like complete, and then just not have a reason to come back. Like,
Right.
and it wasn't like it completed the pass. You just didn't have any other options to get experience. So it was like, okay, I guess I'm done. Like, really, really bizarre.
And then season 2 comes out, and they make the bizarre move to lock a challenge slot.
Yep. Yeah.
After their whole point of like upselling the system was like, oh, you can complete multiple season passes at once, or you can always go back and complete that season pass.
Yeah, dude.
But
So many things
they
about
want you
this
to,
launch are so weird.
yeah, nothing about this is good.
I couldn't believe when they were like, "Hey, here's the game. It's free," and we were like, "Okay, that's cool of you guys." And then the campaign came out, and we were like, "So the campaign's like $30, right? Because you gave us half the game for free." And they were like, "No, the campaign's 60." And it was like,
So it's not really free.
"What?" So then yeah. So if the campaign is $60, you're telling me that every time I bought a $60 Halo game, the multiplayer was like always never worth anything, or that the campaign was always worth $60? That's unhinged. And then on top of that, you're giving me 1/3 of the campaign I was originally supposed to get because you guys cut 2/3 of it because you don't know how to manage your development. And the guy who was doing it was like, we need a lot more time, and they were like, we'll give you like a year or two. And then after the 2 years, they were like, just cut a bunch of content. We can't like not release it or whatever. Like that's whew. And then so yeah, we get 1/3 of a normal campaign that they were supposed to give us. There's entire areas that are locked off for no reason other than like you can't enter here, but like they're fleshed out. They're just not used. So it was like, oh, okay, so this will be DLC down the road. So I'll be paying $120 eventually for the completed Halo campaign that was supposed to be originally the full campaign, which then should still have only been like $30 because I got the other half of the game free already. What are you guys on about?
Right.
And then on top of everything, like, yeah, no co-op, no Forge. You guys sold me 1/4 of Halo Reach for $60. Like, come on. And Reach had like a functioning like do things system with their like armors and medals. Like, come on.
Right.
Wild, dude.
It's a
Wild
mess.
tumble to watch this happen.
It's
And then now, so like, yeah, now Starfield's gone, Redfield's gone. Like, what do on Xbox?
I
Like,
guess they're going to have another Forza come out. Like, didn't they just have a Forza come out 6 months ago? Did I miss?
isn't the Forza team making Halo? They're making Fable. What are they doing?
I don't know.
Are they splitting the Forza team to make half racing games and half RPGs?
I don't know. It's mind-boggling at this point.
Dude.
It's like the only thing that is doing anything right is Mojang, and it's like, what are they doing? Like, they're not. Microsoft bought them for the merchandising. And then they had Microsoft or Minecraft Dungeons. I mean, that was an okay game, I guess, but it's not like they're not doing anything with that, and they haven't done anything beyond that in like Minecraft, the core game.
Yeah. So fun fact, I opened up Google and I typed in upcoming 2022 Xbox games, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first article that comes up is an article from Xbox themselves in January of 2022, January 12th even. Weird. There's like, you would think if they were going to have them be the first link or whatever, they'd have a little more current. But okay, sure. It's an article from January. Let's see what they say. Let's see how this aged. The new year is finally upon us. Here's the games that we're excited about coming to 2022 according to Team Xbox. Somerville, coming to Xbox Series S, X, Xbox One, Windows PC. Okay, cool. So I'll play that on my computer. Starfield. Yeah, we're not going to talk about Starfield.
No, we aren't. Well, I mean, we are, but...
Yeah. Well, for 2022 release, we're not bringing up Starfield. It's no longer a thing. Redfall. What happened there? Slime Rancher 2. Xbox Series X and S and Windows PC. Okay, so I'll play that on my computer. Great.
Yeah, and that's not going to stay. That's not going to stay exclusive.
Yeah. Tunic on Xbox Series S, Xbox One, and my computer. So I already have it, and I played it on my computer. Marvel's Midnight Suns coming to Xbox and coming to computer. Okay, I'll play it on computer. Atomic Heart coming to everything.
It's coming to the Switch too, I thought.
Okay. It doesn't say anything about that.
Maybe they're only listing it.
was January. So if they did update what platforms it's on in the last 4 months, it wouldn't be
Well,
on
see,
here.
Microsoft likes to play fast and loose with facts, and they like to do it with numbers
Oh, they
too.
absolutely do.
So
Yeah, they love to
why would they
yeah,
list the Switch version of it? They're just talking
sure.
about them. So, and that's what they do.
Um,
They like to get away with thinking that these games are going to be exclusive on their under their umbrella, and we saw that with
yeah,
that
yeah.
last E3 presentation. It's like people are like, oh my god,
Oh,
Xbox eating good. It's like you realize that 90% of these games are they're
all
announcing
right,
just because
everything.
Sony's not showing up. Like,
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Well, what's funny? Actually, you're right because as I scroll down this list, I get Atomic Heart, I get Gotham Knights, which we could talk about Gotham Knights, but like footage of Gotham Knights leaked recently, and it's like the clunkiest, weirdest shit you'll see in a AAA game these
yeah, I
days.
do the UI looks like ass.
Oh yeah, and the UI. I forgot about the UI too. Rainbow Six Extraction, Destiny 2: The Witch Queen, and it listed as Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, and Windows PC. And I feel like that probably came out on PlayStation, if
It
I'm not
might have.
mistaken.
It sounds like it was a
um,
Bungie release, right?
I
Who are they
feel
owned
like
by? Who are they
I
owned
feel
by?
like I feel like Witch Queen probably has more players on PlayStation because they've always had more players on PlayStation. Maybe it's
Right.
just me.
Well, Xbox has
Um,
always been the smallest Destiny community.
A Plague Tale, Dying Light 2, which both of which I'm pretty sure got multi-plat releases. Starfield is on this list a second time for some reason. They just have it a second time.
Because why not?
Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which I'm pretty sure is on other things besides PlayStation.
But they
Um,
don't. They only list PC and Xbox, right?
they list PC and Xbox. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all they
See,
say.
that's how
Stalker 2:
that's
Hard to
how they
Chernobyl.
that's how they play fast and loose with the facts, man.
Saints Row and Elden Ring, which something about Elden Ring makes me think maybe it was on PlayStation. I could be wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was on PS5, and I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that's where it did numbers.
sounds about right.
But yeah, so I just love how if I like non-objectively without using any biased wording, I just Google upcoming Xbox games 2022. All I can find is an article from 6 months ago from Xbox, who haven't updated that article in 6 months and haven't put out any new articles since then. That lists Starfield twice and Redfall, which are all gone for this year. And then the other like dozen games are like not exclusive. They're like on PlayStation, they're on PC, they're all over the place. Like
Yeah,
it's oh boy, is it a bad spot to be in for them right now.
and
I'll make the same claim that I always make when we talk about Xbox on the podcast. They should have stuck to software starting with this generation and stayed out of hardware. They should have
right.
stopped doing hardware because there's
Yeah,
literally for the next 2 years even because of smart delivery there will be zero reason to buy an Xbox. Like
right.
it's not even being biased; it's just fact. If you have a computer, get a play it on your computer. And if you don't have a computer and you're thinking about getting a computer or an Xbox, I can tell you that a computer has a bajillion more uses than just an Xbox. Like get a computer first.
Yep.
Like regardless, like in general, get a computer before any gaming system if you can afford to do it. Because why the fuck not? Especially now, because now that the NFT and the crypto thing is like crashing, a lot of those graphics cards are going back down in price, which means you can get regular like good computers for like $1,000 again.
Hmm.
So definitely get on that, and then you can play all your Xbox games right there in Game Pass for $1 or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bad look all around.
It's weird. Someone's like, "Why does Xbox exist?" And you're like,
Like, convince me to buy. Like, someone out there, please convince me to buy Xbox hardware. It doesn't make any sense to me.
"It doesn't make any sense right now."
Um, like I have Game Pass. I don't use it. I'm canceling it. It's already canceled. Um,
Hmm.
I don't
I
use
never
it.
got it because it didn't serve me any purpose.
Right. I don't use it, and as much as I like thought I would, I don't. And for a while, I was
Yeah.
just using it because my daughter was playing a Jurassic Park game on there and a couple other the Viva Pinata. Um,
Hmm.
and instead of that, I'm just going to hook up my 360 and she can play Viva Pinata on that because I have the
Oh
physical
yeah.
game. So there's no point. It
Oh
doesn't make
yeah.
any sense to me at this point. There's nothing on there of any value. I mean, there are some good third party games, but I mean,
Well, like, yeah.
What happened to day one delivery?
I tell people all the time that like I think the last good game that Game Pass got that if I remember correctly was Tunic, and
Hmm.
cool. It was like a what $30 indie game, and like I just threw my money right at the developer for that one. Um, I don't. I think Game Pass is probably great if you didn't ever have gaming at all, like you haven't played the last couple generations or some shit, and you
Hmm.
just get into gaming today, and you get a computer or you get an Xbox hardware and you buy Game Pass. Like, okay, cool, great. But at that point, it's allowing you to go back and play a back catalog of a bunch of shit from the last 10 years or something, which it's cool in its own right. but that's not a big market of people. There's not a lot of people who are like just now starting to become good, just going into gaming or something.
Sure.
Like even kids like my son's age, their parents have access to gaming and they're doing it through their parents. It's got to be pretty slim picking for people who are like just getting into gaming, like fresh,
Right.
that don't already have any access to any of it.
And like you gotta admit, like Xbox alone doesn't have like the back catalog or the heritage that like someone like Nintendo or Sony does.
Oh, dude, I would still argue that getting a Switch and getting the Nintendo Online service is a better deal. And I don't even like half those games on the N64, but it's still a better like deal in terms of like hitting the classics.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the same on PlayStation. If you get a PS5 and get PlayStation Plus, they'll give you like pretty much the best hits from the PS4. Like you get Persona, you get God of War, you get like Horizon Zero Dawn, you get
Yeah, you get those 20
Detroit
like,
Become Human.
yeah, those 20
Like the
games
20
right
games,
off the
yeah.
bat just for being on
And
PSN.
those games are like the cream of the crop from PlayStation. Like not like Game Pass where it's like a smorgasbord of like things they paid for, I guess.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
they've got to be
absolutely.
taking a massive dump of a loss on Game Pass in general. And it's like Xbox in general or Microsoft, they can sit there and continue taking a loss on this stuff until infinity, but it doesn't make it a good service.
Well, the other thing that bugs me too is like those 20 games on PlayStation aren't going anywhere. But if I look up Game Pass right now, it tells me like, oh, these like games like San Andreas is leaving,
Mm-hmm.
Enter the Gungeon is leaving, Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 HD Remaster is leaving, like Remnant from the Ashes is leaving. Like, wait a minute, so like games that you want to play, like, it's like the Netflix problem. Like, you signed up to play. What if you're a huge fan of like FF10, like Dark is, and you hop on Game Pass, and then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, it's leaving, and you're like,
Yeah. Oh, you got
but
3 weeks to play
why?
it?
Why does it
Okay.
have to leave? Why can't you guys just can't leave it there? And they're like, nope. Weird market deals we made where we paid money and then we only had it for a certain period of time. And it's like, fun fact: if you go to the Switch or PlayStation, those games are there 24/7 and they have no
Right.
reason to go away.
It's like, oh, they're renting it so I can rent it for...
Yeah, they're renting it from the developers so they can have it on Game Pass. PlayStation is literally putting their stuff on their thing, and Nintendo's literally putting their stuff on their thing. So you'll never have to worry about like you'll never have to pop open your Switch one day and be like, "Oh, Ocarina of Time went away because whatever," because they chose to take it away. It's like no, Xbox is the only one that actually had these problems where like their games disappear because they're not their games. Like they're trying to be like a broad third-party collection, but that cycles, it rotates because they can't keep the rights forever. Yeah,
Gotta love it.
I mean, to be fair, I guess Xbox Game Pass will always have Halo 5 and Gears 5 and
Sure.
and Forza. Oh, Flight Simulator. God, I forgot. Like the end-all be-all video game.
Right.
Who hasn't played Flight Simulator?
Yeah. And like if people think that this is going to get better after they make this Activision acquisition, like they can barely manage the studios they have now, and they're gonna like double their size, almost. Like what are they thinking? They're like too big to manage at this point.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm like I try not to like. It's a weird like I'm not like what's a good word for this? I think Xbox is in a really bad position, and they have been for a while. They're losing money on their hardware, and they continue to make hardware and enter into the hardware race, even though they're losing it. They lost on the original Xbox, they lost on the 360, and now they're losing on the Xbox One, and then now they're losing on the Series S and X. Like they're like, oh, but we make money on Game Pass and this and that, and it's like, but you guys can make that money on Game Pass on PC. You guys can make controllers for the PC. You guys can make all the hardware that you make for Xbox just for PC, basically.
And you see people fully admit too that people will just either earn points on Xbox to buy Game Pass or cycle accounts on like free codes. And
yeah,
how much of that percentage? That's probably a large percentage of their player base that are basically getting a free ride on this.
Oh yeah, dude. Even all the way back to the 360 days, people used to come into my store and start going through game 360 cases. And I'd be like, "Oh, you need help with something?" I'm like, "No, I'm just looking." And they would look through cases, and I'm like, "Okay, I know what they're doing." And I don't personally like care, but I know what they're doing. They're looking for those like 3-day live codes or whatever that used to be in the old Xbox games. And it was like I had people all the time who were like, "Oh yeah, my buddy's got a code. I got a code. My friend's got a code. He didn't use his code. I signed up for another account." Like I heard people do that with Game Pass. They sign up like with a brand new email for Game Pass every month, and it's like, yeah, here's your 1 month for $1, and they just do that.
Yeah, you can literally
like,
earn points through Microsoft's point reward system and buy time for Game Pass. So it's not one of those things where it's like it's almost like Microsoft is defrauding investors at this point because they're conflating their numbers so high.
Well, imagine you go to look and you're like, how many Game Pass subscribers are there? And they're like, we have like 34 million. And then you look and you're like, how many of these people made new accounts and then bought $1 and then never went back to that account? They made
Right.
another account, paid $1. Like, how many of these accounts are just dead in the water accounts that don't actually even log on?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that I don't know if it would be a high number, but I guarantee it would be like a double-digit percentage.
And I made an argument on Twitter the other day about like someone was like, "Oh yeah, it's they're not a dead game yet." And it's like there are like 5,000 concurrent players. At the time, it was like 20,000. I think they've gone down to like 5 at this point,
Mhm.
which is not good. And they're like, "Oh," and he made a bad faith argument saying like, "Okay, well, it's probably 20,000 on Steam and then 20,000 on Xbox." And I'm like, "That's it." I would have said a higher number than that on Xbox. I would have probably said maybe 100,000. Um,
Right.
but I was just like, "Where's your citation for it?" He's like, "I don't need a citation." I'm like, "Well, you can't make numbers up and then have that reinforce your argument."
I
Um,
love it.
yeah, and I was like, "Okay, but Xbox or Microsoft boasted at that time Halo came out that they had like 200 million people playing Halo, and I can
Mhm.
guarantee you that they're calling downloads players."
I was gonna say, I guarantee me, you, Dark, and Claire were all in that number
Right,
that weren't playing it.
right. I downloaded it. I loaded up the fucking title screen. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like getting back into this, and I closed it. I guarantee you,
Yeah.
I was counted as a player for that.
I played 10
Um,
minutes of it and I was like, well, okay, I played 10 minutes or 15 minutes a couple times and was like,
mhm.
this doesn't. Well, I downloaded it on my Xbox, tried it out, and was like, no thanks. And then I was like, maybe I'll have more fun on my computer. Downloaded my computer, opened it up, played like one thing, and was like, no
Oh,
thanks.
so that's two
So I think I
players.
was two players. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, um, let's take a quick look. I want to see what their
I
concurrent
mean, I guess
players
2
is.
million. 2 million numbers is a pretty good. 2 million players is a pretty good number when your game is literally free and has like the biggest Microsoft franchise behind it.
Right.
But
Wolf. Um, they are currently at 9,500. 9,500 players. That's not sustainable for a live service game.
no, the game that Match makes and stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh boy.
Not even for like an economy or a planned economy where it's like that's going to need to thrive on microtransactions like a $15 belt swords and stupid shit like that. Cat ears. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you're not making any money there, man. Yeah, it's simply not sustainable at this point. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I want to say like some days are numbered here, but it's like I said, it's like Microsoft's just going to lose money until infinity. Um, and like if they always say like, oh, Nintendo should just focus on software. No, it's like if anyone should be focusing on just software, it's Microsoft.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, it's okay though because Nintendo is gonna die soon because something something. Why does
yeah,
that always happen? Why
they
is
took
always Nintendo
they
the
took a
rumored that it's
misstep.
gonna die? I don't understand. I've never understood why that's the specific one. People always be like, "Oh, Nintendo is like looking like they're in trouble," and it's always like they post record numbers. No, it'll be like for the first time ever, the Switch wasn't the top seller because PlayStation 5 outsold them once or something.
One yeah
Or
one month
PS4 outsold them once. And they'll be like, oh, Nintendo slipped, and they're like, they're going to be in the dustbin of history in like 6 months. And it's like, you realize Xbox isn't like a distant third to them right now, right? Like, wait a second. What do you mean? Why is
right.
Nintendo dying? Because they slipped to second place.
Like even when they took that misstep with the Wii U, it's like you got to remember that at the end of the day, they will still and always dominate the portable market. And
No, absolutely.
there has been many competitors that have gone up against the Game Boy Advance, the DS, the Switch, and they have all failed.
Yeah. You
Um,
want to talk about where the PSP and the PS Vita are right now?
right,
Because they tried.
the Game Gear, the Atari Lynx, the Sega Nomad, they all tried getting into Nintendo space, and they could not do it. And they had
Mhm.
better hardware.
Yeah, significant. Like the PlayStation Vita was actually way powerful and had a really good screen, but
Uh
that
huh.
didn't matter.
Right.
Like it was a cool gimmick to pick it up and be like, look how cool this is. And then you're like, what do you play on it? And you're like, well, like some PSP classics, I guess. Like
Yeah, it
Little Big
became
Planet
a
game they gave
portable
us.
indie
Like
machine.
yeah, yeah, and then yeah, 90% of my Vita time was playing PSP games.
Yep.
Um, yeah, absolutely.
Retro City Rampage.
Yep, dude, I could not tell you what PS Vita exclusive games there were that were any good. I think they had a Gravity Rush, which more power to
Jeez.
them. I heard it was a good franchise. I just never played it, so therefore, like that one game was a wash on me.
Sure. All right. Well, let's, I guess, move on. I don't see us needing to report on Microsoft for the rest of the year because I don't. What, like, Bethesda announced too that they're going to have like a showcase. What are they going to show? DLC?
wait, who Bethesda's having a
Bethesda's
showcase?
having a summer showcase around like when E3 was supposed to be, and they announced
Of
that
what?
like 2 weeks before they announced the delay.
What are they
That's
gonna have a
I
showcase of?
I would like to know, but it's probably going to like DLC for shit. What else are they going to have?
What they already said that their big things are the new Elder Scrolls and Starfield, which are both not coming in the next year.
Yeah, so they announced it on the 28th that they will have a showcase on the 12th.
What?
Yeah, Xbox and Bethesda showcase. So
Oh my god, it's
I
gonna
have
be
no
the
idea what they're going to talk about for uh, an hour, 20
I already know
minutes.
what's gonna happen. 40 minutes of it is gonna be third-party games with Xbox putting like coming to Xbox, like, and then maybe other outlets or something.
Right.
And they'll brag about third-party games that everyone's excited about. And then they'll close it out with 20 minutes of Bethesda being like, "Wait till you see Starfield and Elder Scrolls. It's gonna be wild." And it'll be like static images that like it'll be like this, but it'll be like spinning like this. You'll be like, "Whoa! Look at that concept art!"
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Please look forward to it."
Let's read it. Today, we are excited to announce that the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase will stream on Sunday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Man, maybe we should do that stream live just so we can be like, we were there for the nothing. This show will feature amazing titles coming from Xbox Studios, Bethesda, and our partners from around the world.
And our partners around the world, so it's gonna have a bunch of third-party shit.
Yep. The Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase will include everything you need to know about the diverse lineup of games coming from the Xbox ecosystem, including upcoming releases to Game Pass and the Xbox PC. I can barely,
Yeah,
I
see,
can barely make it through the
that's what it
sentence.
is.
Yep.
They've got PC in there because they don't say Xbox consoles, they say
Yeah.
Xbox ecosystem. They mention PC. You know what you're gonna see? You're gonna see like a bunch of third-party games that they made deals with to get them on Game Pass on day one.
Vampire Survivors coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. Something, yeah.
Xbox and Bethesda Showcase will be streamed in a variety of outlets in over 30 languages.
We got more languages than games.
How do you say depression in French?
Dude, they're gonna have 30 languages for what? 10 games? Oh my god.
You could choose where you want to tune in from. YouTube, Twitch, Xbox ASL. I don't know what that means. What's Xbox?
That must be like a market
sign
one, right?
language?
Like a specific market.
Maybe sign.
Oh yeah.
Is that what that is?
ASL.
Okay.
Yeah, it is ASL sign language.
Okay.
Good for them. I will give them props for that.
That's like
cool to have.
the only place that they excel in is accessibility.
Yeah, Xbox they
I
are
will-
through the roof with their controller. Their
They
ASL
deserve a
stuff, just like
fucking
stuff.
diamond medal for their accessibility options.
Absolutely.
You can watch it on Facebook and TikTok too. I
Oh, on
cannot wait.
Facebook. Oh boy.
Yeah, I can't wait to reactivate my Facebook account to watch
You can watch the stream.
the nothing of what this is going to be. All right. Where do we even go from here? Holy shit. All right. I guess let's move on before. I mean, he's already dead. Stop.
He's already stop. He's already dead.
Yeah, let's beat a different horse.
Not kidding.
So WATA is heading to court. Gaming pariah WATA Games is heading to court over allegedly manipulating the retro market game prices. With their work through heritage auctions, we've seen a lot of price spiking in the house. What did I write? Jesus Christ. In 1989, CEO of Heritage Auctions, Jim Halperin, was found inflating coin prices by the FTC when it was discovered that they were using Heritage Auctions back to outfit certified rare coin galleries to sell coins for more than twice their value. And now we're seeing WATA basically doing the exact same thing with Heritage Auctions here. And I think it was our first podcast when we didn't quite know what the hell we were doing at that point. We've covered this story.
Yeah, early on.
Yeah. So we still don't know what the hell we're doing here, but maybe a little better. But we did talk
Yeah.
about WATA. We kind of broke down a little bit of the history, and there is a good video that I expect and implore everyone to go watch. Carl, it's a video by Carl Jobst. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's
Um,
Yopes, but I'm not sure.
okay, Jobst. I'll post the link in
Mhm.
the Twitch chat just so we have reference. Go watch that. It's about an hour long, but oh boy, did he do a just beautiful way of just kind of laying out the whole history of everything, um,
Mhm.
helping you understand what terms mean before he dives into the story. He just did a phenomenal job of this, and it kind of breaks down like the whole backroom bullshit between WATA and Heritage Auctions. And what was like the first game they kind of covered was the Mario game that sold for like $160,000, and everyone's like, why? And then they turned around and sold it again for like a couple. It was like a 6,000% increase in value, and it was
Yeah,
the
it was
same game like 6 months later. And it had no business being that high in value.
Yeah, I've got it in front of me. It was like it was a $30,000 copy in 2017. A WATA graded copy went for 100 grand in a widely publicized sale in 2019. And then the buyers included three people, one of whom was the founder of the Heritage Auctions House, Jim Halperin. Later that same year, they went on the chief grader from WATA, Dennis Khan, went on the TV show Pawn Stars to say that the same copy, the exact same copy, was worth as much as $300,000 now. By last year, what WATA described as an ultra rare boxed and sealed variation of Super Mario Brothers was selling for $2 million. So that doesn't happen
No.
authentically. That doesn't happen like naturally.
And of course, like all the news covered all the wrong parts of that story, and they didn't ask any
Hmm.
questions. They're like, "Oh, well, this game's fucking worth this much now," and it's like all these gaming
Yeah,
outlets didn't question any of this.
yeah.
None
They've
of it.
used like that the media not understanding of what was
Right.
happening, and they just kind of were at the media was like funneling and amplifying that message of these games are worth this much money,
Right.
which
Because
causes it's speculative. It causes people to believe that that's really what it's worth.
it was at the end of the day lazy journalism, and it was just an easy clickbait headline for them. Big
Hmm.
number, old game. This will be an easy headline.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
they wrote the headline and walked backwards on it. That's the work
And it sucks
backwards.
because like people like Carl are not as big as like all these other gaming sites, and people
Hmm.
like Carl were the ones doing the legwork and finding out what was happening with it.
But it
So
was nice to see like Pat Contry was really involved with it too. And he's
yeah,
big in the retro scene. Not well liked by speculative traders, that's for sure. That's how you know Pat's a good guy.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I got
yeah. I was just gonna say.
I got to meet him. I bought one of his books, the history of Nintendo. It's like a book yay thick. It's like a fucking phone book, and it's all full color pages of like every Nintendo game ever made. He
Hmm.
did one for the SNES too, and I haven't yet to pick that up. But great guy. Met him a couple times. It's definitely go check out because he did a bunch of piecework on WATA games as well. I implore everyone to go check that out too.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, they're going to court.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
reading about this dude now. Um, it looks like let's see, filed in the Central District Court of California. Filed on behalf of Jacob Knight, Jack Cribbs, and Jason Dawsey, as well as other potentially similarly situated individuals. They accuse WATA Games and owner Collective Universe of pumping up a bubble around retro gaming collection, misleading customers, and a pattern of racketeering activity. Which, again, Halperin and et al., the whole crew of them, have been in this before because they did it with coins way back in the 90s. They did it with baseball cards.
mhm.
And they were brought to court for that too, and they were slammed for that back then. I think was it Halperin was the one that was like banned from doing this kind of shit, but he's allowed to be on like boards for these companies and stuff. He
Right.
just can't do
He
it
can't.
directly or something.
Right. So he can't indirectly. I guess he can't directly be on the board of WATA. But
Yeah,
it
so
seems
he's
like
like a
he's got
consultant right now
plenty of
or something
lackeys
stupid.
working, and they're working in cahoots. It's pretty
Well, I think it was like he was
allegedly.
brought
Let's
in as like a consultant or something
right.
or
A
whatever.
guy who
Like
knows nothing about games. Um, it's wild, man.
I know, it's a hot mess with multiple people with similar names, and they are all people who have done this before or gotten in trouble for it before or are known to be in this industry, like for just shitty money making instead of actually caring about these games at all. Like these people do not care in the slightest about like preserving video games or anything like that.
100%. Um, and I guess they if they value a obviously they grade the games WATA, and they get a cut. So if they value the game at like $300,000, they get a 12% cut of that. So
Oh yeah, there's a
they
lot of
have
red flags. Like
right. They have
they have
every
incentives to raise
incentive.
the price.
Exactly. The auction
There's
house
like
gets a cut. So they have every incentive of having this game be worth more than what it should be.
And there was a couple of auctions where the person who bought it was publicly someone who worked for them, and then they turned around and relisted it again, saying it
Right.
was going to go up to over $1 million, and then it did because they said it would.
And then pretended he wasn't part of WATA. And then they were like, wait,
Yep,
no, you're on the board, dude. Not only do you work for WATA, you are on the fucking board.
you're on the auctions board
Right.
for Golden Auctions or whatever. And then there was like they approached people who had like what was it? They approached a guy that had like a database of all the game prices and how they had sold,
Mm-hmm.
and they just straight up bought it from that dude and then like erased it from the internet or like took it down or whatever. Do you remember what I'm talking about? They
So.
went and they approached somebody who did. Let me see. I think it was in Carl's video where they talked about how they went and found one of the guys who did like the running list of like game transactions to like sort of help the market prediction make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they like bought that list from him and tried to like
Oh,
they were like gonna roll it into
yes.
their website, and then they just got rid of it, kind of like it
It
just went
was
away.
it was a trading forum. They bought the website and they just shut it down because it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
was it Nintendo Life, because there was an Atari Life, I think, too.
something like that.
Um,
I just remember they bought the website that had a whole list of like a bunch of game transactions to help people like keep track of like pricing,
mhm.
and then they
Not only that, but keep
buried
track
it.
of quantity.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget there was a
Um,
specific term for that, for one of those. Maybe it's just a quantity list, but there was a specific term for
yeah,
that from what I remember. And yeah, those are very valuable, and it's auction houses are actually supposed to keep those on hand.
yeah, it's something that helps keep like a trackable record of sort of like what these
Right.
games are selling for, so you can look back at them and be like, is it fair to say this game's worth 100 grand when 20 of them sold? I mean, like if you go on eBay and you look up like completed auctions and you see a Magic card going for $20 all the way down like over and over and over, the card's $20. So if someone tries to tell you it's $10, you can point to that and be like,
Right.
it sells for $20 all day right now. They basically like ate up one of those lists and then removed it. Um, I can't find exactly what I'm looking for, but I'm pretty sure if you go out to Carl Jacobs' video, I believe he mentions it in there.
And this has been on eBay since we did the first WATA story on our first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Crystal, first printing, WATA graded 9.4 and sealed, $29,000.
Yeah.
$29,000.
Well,
If you look above it, there's one for $49,000, but then there's one for VGA. It's unopened, sealed, 5,900.
well, there was a guy who had a huge collection
Mm-hmm.
of games, and they bought them from him. And then they individually graded all of it, and they broke it all up, and they sold it individually and called it like, but they labeled it as all part of
The
one big
Yeah,
collection
it was like the something collection. I remember
to
that.
like drive up the value. And then
Mm-hmm.
people started like scrambling to try
Right.
and collect all the pieces so they can have the collection.
Yeah, they boutiqued it. That was wild,
Yeah,
man.
they basically made like foil, like it's what you see in card games with foiling. They were just like, these are special, and then they released them into the environment. People were like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, and it was like, what makes this special? Well, WATA said it was special. Okay, what makes WATA saying that it's special special? WATA said it was special. Like,
Right.
like that's all that it was. It was none of the games were like crazy high graded either. They were just part of one big purchase they made.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it. It would be like if I went and bought a giant collection of Magic cards from a dude in North Carolina, and then I started selling on eBay and listing it as like the North Carolina collection. And people were like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a fucking huge collection. I bought in North Carolina. It's worth way more money than normal because I got it all at the same time."
Oh yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, you buy it from North Carolina, call it the Palmetto Collection, make it sound
Yeah,
fancy. And
that's
I think it
exactly
turned
what
out
they
that,
did. Yeah,
that guy who sold that collection ended up either always being
he was he
he
ended up
was
being
involved in
involved
WADA
with them.
too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he ended up basically getting bought out by them entirely because I think he ran a forum.
mm-hmm.
Is what it was.
I think
Yeah,
it was
I
that
think he
forum.
ran that forum.
Yes, Nintendo
And I
Age.
think,
Nintendo
yeah,
Age.
during that
That's it.
whole buyout, he was the dude who ran the forum or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went down as part of that, not as part of like on paper, but like definitely as a result of their purchase. Yeah, absolutely wild.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we could. There's so much shit that we could have gone rehashed because it's a huge thing. And if you haven't watched our whole
Right.
podcast on it, go watch the Carl Jacobs video on it. I think he has two videos. He has he has the main video talking about it, and there was an update in December where if I'm not mistaken,
He did do a rehash of it
he
with
he
some
bought
updates.
a couple games from a dude who works for WATA, who then turned around and messaged him on the side and was like, "I can send you a fuck ton of games for like insert prices."
I think it
and
turned out to be Jim Halperin.
And it was Jim Halperin, the guy who's not supposed to be doing that stuff anymore.
Right.
So we caught him outright doing the thing he's not supposed to be doing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That
was a follow-up video.
Don't go watch our old first episode podcast unless you want to. The Carl Jobs video is much more comprehensive in covering that.
Absolutely.
We're just here to skim the facts and skim some data. We're not here to talk about this for an hour and a half. But so I hopefully the FTC gets involved here. I guess right now this is just a class action lawsuit. I would have rather to see the FTC get into this, but of course, in this day and age, the FTC and regulatory capture, they don't really get involved with this kind of stuff anymore, which is kind of a shame. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Can't stress enough. Go watch that video. So let's move on. We've got.
I just wanted to point out.
Go ahead.
I found a thing that says that you can actually, if you hop into the Carl Jobs video at like right around 28 minutes, they talk about the Nintendo Age forum getting taken down by WATA through their purchase from Dane Anderson.
Yep.
So yeah, it's all there. Good old black and white.
Good shit. All right. Let's move on. The big story of the week, obviously Nintendo. Always in the headlines, always making people smile sometimes when they're not being assholes. We have the old Indie World review here. So we're going to just talk about, we're going to watch the direct. We're going to throw some commentary on it. And at the end, we are going to have a top 5. We're going to compare our top 5s and we're going to go from there.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Notepad.
Yeah. Me too.
So I can take some notes.
I don't know where the hell I had one written down. Did I save it in documents? I did. Absolute mad lad over here using the documents folder.
Good place for documents.
It is.
Don't ever look there.
No, I didn't. All right. Let's bring up the old window here. Do you want me to simulcast it in the Discord so you can watch along?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That way I can avoid the delay, I guess.
Yeah. This is going to be tricky. We're going to do a 60K stream in the Discord on top of streaming it live.
They're doing it live double.
Yes. All right, let's make sure we have all the ratios or all the aspects stretched out here. Why is it locked? And the funny thing is too, we saw, at least I saw people on YouTube like, I don't understand this Indie Direct. It's like, it looks like it's more of an art piece than it is like game announcements. It's like, like what are you here for?
Right.
You know, that's exactly why we're here. I don't know. It just blew my mind. It's like,
guys, I checked out the Nintendo Indie Direct and there was no Metroid Prime 4 or new Smash announcements.
Like, unbelievable. I know. No Assassin's Creed. It's fucking like, what do you think indie means? All right. Well, without further ado, let me make sure I have it turned up too.
Hello and welcome to Indie World. I'm Ariko.
And I'm Amber. We're back today to showcase a slew of indie games coming to the Nintendo Switch system.
Our indie partners span
and I'll pause
the globe,
briefly after each,
from Sweden to Australia
so we can talk about it.
And Japan. And we can't wait to see what they've been cooking up. So let's get started.
I already know this is your favorite one.
Oh yeah, oh my god. If you want to, I'm going to actually unmute the stream and you can take it out of the Discord because it's not showing me anything in the Discord.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's just giving me the purple loading boxes.
Let me try it again.
I'll unmute it here. Oh yeah, I'll check it out.
Is that working? Oh, now it's
Nope.
not showing up on stream.
I just have the purple loading diamonds thing. That's it.
All right.
I'll just watch the stream. It shouldn't be too bad of a delay.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
don't you
man,
just
what is
love
going
games that are cozy and weird?
And
Oh, I
accidentally
absolutely
disconnected.
do.
And we're fine.
This charming creature collection and farm simulation
What could go
game
wrong?
from Glumberland
What
has
could go wrong?
everything to give you the warm fuzzies. Grow and train adorable little creatures called ooblets as you cultivate new life in the blossoming community of Badgetown.
Customize your character. Befriend the locals. Decorate your house. Run your own shop. And most importantly, have epic dance battles. You can even dress up your ooblet pals and travel to different locations. Visit the arcade-packed boardwalk in Port Forward. Saunter through the spooky swamps of Nowhere. And ascend the frozen peaks of Tippy Top.
Ooblets waddles its way onto Nintendo Switch this summer. Colorful and mesmerizing planets.
So, you want to talk about ooblets?
Yeah. They will never see any of my money.
That's fair.
I don't remember exactly when it was. It was a few years ago, I think, at this point. It was definitely a little while back. Let me see. Let me grab this video from August 3rd of 2019, and I'll throw it in your chat there. So that's a video from a YouTube creator named Yongye, who mostly reports on like news and stuff in the gaming industry. And he made this video back in August 3rd of 2019 talking about the Ooblets devs who basically, long story short, they had a Patreon. They were taking, support for their game, for the development of their game. They weren't doing keys for their Patreon members. It was just if you want to give them money, you can, and it helps them develop the game. And then after a while, they got the Epic deal, the Epic Game Store deal, which a few other studios did that. There was other games, other indies that got it. I think Metro Redux, I think, or whatever, got it too. They were one of them. But instead of just being like, hey guys, we took the deal with Epic so that we could get the funding to finish our game and stuff, blah, 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 blah. They made a post and they were like, oh, we did the thing that people get mad about, but maybe don't get mad. And then they had their character like flossing. And people were like, oh, so who supported you guys this whole time because they wanted to play on Steam, when do we get a Steam version? And they were like, that's not in the plans anymore. So, I mean, get Epic. It's the same thing. Just download the Epic launcher. And people were like, what if we don't want to do that? And they were like, well, that's not our problem then, I guess. Like, we didn't give you Steam keys for being Patreons or whatever. And then some people were like, hey, I live in a country that the Epic Game Store doesn't accept my currency. And they were like, you're not entitled to our game, then don't buy it.
Oh, wow.
And people were like, well, it kind of sucks that Patreon people gave you guys money this whole time expecting a Steam release because that's what you said. And now you're not getting a Steam release. So those people kind of feel burned. And they were like, well, I'm glad that we're not on Patreon anymore, so we don't have to like cater to baby gamers and do like whatever. And it was like, these people are the people who gave you money though. And they were like, we didn't give you anything for that money, so you're not customers yet. So it was like, the whole thing was just shitty. And it was all over Twitter, it was all over Discord, they were just being shitty. And then like the guy from Epic, what's his name? Tim Sweeney or whatever, Todd Sweeney, I forget his name.
Sweeney Todd.
He was like, you want to know my reaction to what happened with Ooblets? Like, fucking awesome. And it was like, okay. And they doubled and tripled down, and they were just really shitty to people. And like even now, when like if you actually go look up the Nintendo thing where they talked about the Indie Direct and all the game announcements, you go to the one for Ooblets and you go through the quote tweets. Every like fifth or sixth quote tweet is someone being like hard pass, they hate their community or they were shitty to people. It was a hot mess, dude. It was so bad.
Good to be called out.
And the fact that and Yongye made another video 3 days later because they defended the Epic and Ooblets defended the deal by being like sarcastic and shitty to people even more and doubled down on everything.
Yeah.
So it would be one thing to be like, hey, we made it was confusing and maybe, it was a problem for people and blah, blah, blah. But like they were shit the whole time, the whole way, and it was garbage. So from the bottom of my heart, the only India dev I've ever had to say this to, fuck the Ooblets dev. What's the name? Like, what's the name? Come Dumpster Land or something? Yeah.
I don't know.
Fuck them.
But it might as well be.
Might as well be. And of course, on top of everything else, they're like, yeah, we're coming to Steam. Or not, we're coming to Steam. Like, we're coming to Switch. And people were like, Steam? And they were like, no. And it was like,
right.
So the Epic deal only keeps you guys off Steam, and you're still running that deal, obviously, because you got paid for it. But now you're porting to like Switch or like other things. Like now it's on Xbox and Switch, and Epic Game Store, but not Steam. And it's like we've already seen like people getting mad at Epic this year because like Kingdom Hearts didn't come to the Steam because Epic paid a fuck ton of money to keep it off of it. For example, we've seen other games come to the Epic Game Store only because they get paid.
Right.
And it's one thing for indie devs, like if I was making a game and Epic came up to me and they were like, we'll give you $500,000 to make it only in the Epic Store, and it puts food on my table and it keeps the doors open so I can make content, sure, I get it. But they could have said that instead of being like, we did the thing everyone hates, maybe don't hate us for it, and then like did like the stupid floss.
It was a
and
fucking bait and switch almost. I mean, you could argue that bait and switch 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that they were like promising everybody that it was going to be on Steam, and then it totally didn't come to Steam because they switched out.
Right.
And they could have been like, hey, we'll do our best to try and make sure if your currency is not supported at an Epic Game Store, we'll do what we can to help you, or this, that, or the other. Mm-hmm. Which, to be fair, eventually, like when one guy from Malaysia was like, I can't buy on the Epic Game Store because I'm from Malaysia. They did try to refund him as much of the Patreon as they could back, but that was like weeks after they were getting shit on by everybody for being shitty.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't have done that.
That wasn't like an upfront, we want to fix this problem for you. That was like, we're getting shit on left and right by everybody for being garbage.
Right.
And now we're going to like give you your money back. Like, yeah, it was stupid. And then I forget who it was, some random dude made an article like within the last year where they were like, remember that whole thing with Ooblets? It was awful because a lot of people from r/fuck Epic came in and made like a big deal out of it, and it was like, no, a lot of people just showed up in their Discord after they were shit on Twitter and made a big deal out of it because they were being shitty. Like,
right.
I to tell you, like, if you have to defend their actions by being like other people came in to be mad, like, well, okay, but were they validly mad about something? Yes. Like, of course they were.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing is stupid. They tried to act like they were victims, and then of course they were like cry bullying and being like, oh, we've been getting death threats. And it was like, okay, yeah, well, fuck the people giving you death threats. But that doesn't mean you get to be a piece of shit and then be like, but I got death threats. Like,
right. I robbed this bank, but people are giving me death threats now, so I should keep the money.
People said kill myself after I became a full-blown Nazi, but then people told me to kill myself. Where's the tolerance? Like, yeah, fucking stupid. So, yeah, Glummerland, I believe, is the name of that development team. It's literally a husband and a wife. And from the bottom of my heart, fuck those people.
Nice.
Like, everything's wrong with indie development.
A lot. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes a lot to get this guy wound up.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, if it was a corporation, it'd be like, it's okay, it's a corporation. They do this shit all the time. But this is literally two people who just shafted their community and then turned around and were like, maybe don't be mad that we shafted you guys.
Looking to sell out as fast and hard as possible.
and it wasn't so much the deal as it was the attitude. The deal is understandable. You guys got to keep your doors open. You got to keep food on your table. You got to keep your lights on. I get all that. When I was at ACS, they were trying to get the Epic deal. And if I end up making an indie game of myself anytime soon, and Epic gives me that deal, I'll take it.
Sure.
But I'm not going to sit here and act like, if I start a Kickstarter or a Patreon and I tell people it's coming to Steam, and then the Epic deal happens, before I take that deal, I'm most likely going to go to my community and be like, how many of you guys would play it on the Epic Game Store? Because that's going to keep my lights on if you do that. And if people are like, no, none of us are going to do that, I'm be like, okay, well then I'll figure something else out. Who has Switch? Who has PlayStation? Where else can I put this game so you guys can play it? I wouldn't just roll over and be like, oh guys, guess what? I got $500,000 from Epic. I don't know who here is on Patreon anymore, but like, we don't need this anymore, so we're going to shut it down now. Fuck all of you. Go buy it on Epic Game Store, I guess.
I think
like,
your game would probably be the only reason I would ever put Epic on my computer.
Well, I appreciate that, but
it would be for a brief amount of time.
I mostly have it on my computer. I did get it because they were doing the free games, and some of them were cool games.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly I have it on my computer because it's sort of a built-in component required to run the Unreal Engine. You just have to have the Epic launcher to do the Unreal Engine.
Fair.
Which it doesn't really interfere with that, so I guess I can't really complain that much about it. But I do know Epic Game Store has some shady shit behind it that a lot of people are not fans of, like I imagine yourself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was just one of those like. It was like the Diablo thing. Remember the Diablo's like, don't you people have phones? It was like that. They went to the Discord and they were like, don't you people download EGS? And it was like, what if they don't want to? What if you live in a country like Malaysia where they can't use that money? And then they were like, you're not entitled to buy our game, dude. Like, not our problem if you can't play it there. And it was like, okay.
It's like, okay, then I guess what? A lot of people won't.
Yeah. So
Enjoy your Epic
I
Store.
wish. I wish Come Dumpsterland to very go fuck yourself.
I don't get to hear you talk like this very often, so I love it.
Like, it takes a lot to get me upset because like
it's like Christmas and summer.
It's the fact that it's an indie dev. It's a husband and wife couple who did this really sets me off because it's like you don't ever see this in indie games. Like how many times in indie games do you hear a story about an indie dev being a complete piece of shit to people? It's like these
Not
people,
often.
The Fez dude, like, and that's like it, right? Like I can't think of any other good examples of that. Like, oh man,
pretty much. All right.
I guess like there's maybe Kickstarters randomly. Like, isn't there Kickstarters sometimes where like they basically pocket the money and run or some shit? Oh, I hear about that from time to time, but I don't know how often it happens.
Indiegogo's more rife with that because Kickstarter you have to have a physical prototype at least.
Oh, you have to actually put up something? Okay.
Yes.
I remember there was some site where people would just like take the money and run, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah,
it probably was Indiegogo.
Usually pretty rife with it. That's why
I
very sparingly ever buy anything off of Indiegogo. It's been probably years.
Yeah, who's the one Star Citizen does it through? Are they Patreon?
I'm not sure what they do.
But they've just been their thing is they're not like taking the money and running. They're just like slowly walking along with the money forever.
Right. It's very
collecting more money. Yeah. That's funny.
Well, if you can get a million idiots to give you $1 a month, that's a lot of money.
Oh my god, you ever see the thing where it's like the person's like, you want to learn how to make like $1 million? Like, send me $1 and I'll tell you. That's what it is. Like, you get 1 million people to send you $1 and you just tell them that you did that.
Yep.
That's funny.
All right, let's check out the rest of this Indiegogo here.
Yeah, it's all uphill from here, dude.
In this fast-paced action RPG across the cosmos. In this deeply story-driven game by Stormmind Games, you'll use both strength and wits to interact with others and conquer the challenges ahead.
Balancing the duality of your physical and mental powers is key. Sacrifice one for the other against opponents and things might not turn out well for you. Ultimately, your conscience will carry the weight of your decisions. What kind of hero will you become? Choose your destiny in Batora Lost Haven, launching on Nintendo Switch this fall.
こんにちは、生高橋です。エルケッドがもうすぐ Nintendo Switch で遊べるようになります。エルケッドは私が学生時代の頃、流れるというテーマのコンテスト向けに好きなゲームからインスピレーションを受けて開発したプロトタイプ作品になります。私が学生を卒業した後にそれをブラッシュアップしたのが本作になります。シンプルな操作と直感的なルールからは想像もできないようなひらめく体験をご用意しておりますので、ぜひ Nintendo Switch で楽しんでみてください。
Hey, if you're looking for a clever and challenging 2D puzzle platformer, then we've got just the game for you from Nama Takahashi, a one-person development team. Here, you're a small robot named Alec, who's on a mission to restore light to the world while navigating a booby-trapped facility. By using your electrifying powers to touch walls, floors, platforms, and switches, electricity will charge through them and bring them to life.
Hey, don't get ahead of yourself. Well, I mean, actually, you should. Detach and throw your head to trigger objects. You'll need to retrieve it within 10 seconds, or else. There are plenty of hidden rooms and secrets to discover, so use your head, literally, to explore every nook and cranny of the facility.
Electhead bolts onto Nintendo Switch this summer.
Okay, so I've watched this. This is my third time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I just now noticed Batora, and it's weird that I'm just now noticing that game. That looks pretty good. It kind of reminds me of like a Torchlight Diablo-esque kind of setup. So I might change my top 5. I'm not sure. We'll see.
You know what's funny you mentioned that? I was just going to say myself that I did not remember Batora the last time I watched this.
It's so weird. So I don't know, but Electhead, I know you love fucking platformers. You love Celeste.
Yes.
So obviously we're gonna have to sit here and talk about Electhead a little bit. It's amazing to me that in 2022 we are still getting unique side scroll 2D platforming games with just brilliant and very creative ideas.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so simple. Like the graphically, there's nothing to it. The game has 2 colors.
Yep.
But the concept of the way that game is played, like throwing your head and using it to activate, like your whole body's energized based off your head. I think that's really creative and interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a mechanic like that before.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. It reminds me of like, you know what? I think what's funny is I'm really glad they included that segment at the beginning, talking to the developer, because him explaining to people that like what drives that game is the aha moment, I think is a big part of that game. It's a big part of a lot of games like Celeste. It's a big part of any kind of Metroidvania puzzle platformer game where like you have those moments where you're like, oh, I know where this is for. I know where to use this. I know how to do this. Like, I got it. That moment for a lot of gamers is a big, big draw for engagement with a video game. At least for me personally, it's one of my favorite things about video games is doing like the, oh, I get it moment. Like, I love games like Celeste or games like Metroidvania games because you get like time after time, you get those every time you went to a room and you figure out how to solve the room. Every time you encounter an enemy and you figure out how to beat them, you get these small little bursts of it. And then like maybe for like big bosses, big puzzles, you like crack it. Especially if it's one you come back to and you couldn't figure out at first or something.
Right.
It's that's one of my favorite things about Tunic. Tunic was like nonstop barrage of like, oh, I get it. Yeah, oh, I get that. Now I can do this. Oh, I get it. Like, brilliant stuff. I'm very excited for like a definitely top 5.
Yeah, I'm liking that one. Let's continue.
Rhythm-based dungeon crawler from Noodle Cake and Drastic Games combines looter-shooter action with musical gameplay that'll keep you on your toes.
And tapping your toes. As a guardian of harmony, you're transported to the world of Symphonia to battle the forces of discord. Move to the music solo, or with up to 4 players locally or online, as you restore harmony to Symphonia's corrupted lands. Levels and encounters are dynamically generated from the music, and there are over 140 songs to choose from. So pick the tune you want to hear before jumping into the fray.
Time your actions to the music, and your power will increase. There are 5 different musical heroes to choose from, over 500 pieces of equipment for skill customization, and thousands of loot combinations, giving you opportunities for multiple playthroughs.
Get your head bopping to Soundfall, launching on the Nintendo Switch system later today.
All right, so that one's already out. I would like to play a demo of that. I didn't notice the part where you actually get music that generates the dungeon. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would like to at least try a demo of this. I rhythm games just don't really grab me. Aesthetically though, the artwork looks great. It kind of looks like a twin stick shooter almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is or not, but it could be like another, Diablo setup. But I liked how they incorporate like the EQs into the environment. That was really cool. So if you want to play it in bed like a low volume, you can still kind of like see what the rhythm is doing. I'm interested to see how they actually incorporate that rhythm into the play style. I don't know if you keep the beat with shooting or how that would work. But yeah, I mean, it seems interesting. I'd really like to see that on the PC, where you could, I don't know, take like your Apple collection or your Spotify music collection or Google Spotify music collection and use your own songs to generate dungeons and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude, that'd be awesome.
I'd play the shit out of a System of a Down dungeon.
Oh my god, could you imagine it trying to like figure out where to put like the rhythm for like
Right. What's that famous one? That Guitar Hero's famous, the custom.
Oh my god!
Between Fire and Flames.
The Fire and Flames.
Yeah.
Playing Dragon Force.
Wild.
You can pretty much shoot at any time and it'll count. Like...
Right.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that one seems pretty cool. I would like to try a demo of that before I would dive into something like that though. Because I've tried Crypto the Necro Dancer, like the high roll version. I tried a demo of that. I didn't really enjoy it too much. Maybe I'm just not like, rhythmically inclined, but it was okay.
Could be. I've messed around with that a little bit, and my thing with that game that I feel like I'd be worried about with this game as well is like, actually probably more this game than that game. I'm a little worried about it being clunky because it, like the whole like rhythm based, like do it to the rhythm kind of thing. And I noticed that with Crypt and the Necro Dancer, it specifically was intentionally clunky, where like it was turn based almost, where you had like you had to move on the beat. And if you did it wrong, you would like miss the beat and you'd miss the move or whatever. Obviously, here it seems like it's a little more lenient. It doesn't seem like you actually stop moving or get locked up. You just, I'm guessing you do more damage when you're on beat, or you get more projectiles on beat, or something like that. Which I think that moves that genre in a better direction.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think I would have been more impressed if they were like play your own music.
And I get why that's hard to do on the Switch.
Yeah.
But I would like to see like a PC version of that and really let people kind of explore their own music libraries and stuff. But
you know what would have been a cool thing for that, actually? It would have been a nice double dip from the Nintendo if they let them do that. Would have been if Soundfall would have let you pull songs from things like, say, for example, Smash Brothers, because Smash Brothers has a huge library of good video game music. Imagine if they let you, like, if it was like, oh, if you have Smash, you can bring your Smash music in. If you have Mario Maker, you can bring Mario Maker tracks in. Like, stuff like that would be clever and allow them to branch out without having to leave the Switch, you know?
Exactly, and especially with Smash Brothers not really doing much anymore, that'd be a
it'd be like another reason to get in
pique
on
more
Smash,
interest to Smash, right?
Sure, yeah, exactly. Do some more branching with it, or like Mario Kart is another great example. Mario Kart 8 tracks. If you have Mario Kart 8, the tracks are in here, and if you get the new DLC tracks, the tracks add in. Like, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory has a bajillion songs, and if they could have made that deal work, like, hey, bring in your Kingdom Hearts songs. There's a fucking million of them. That would have been smart. Or maybe if they do that down the road. That's a no-brainer, good decision.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what they do. I'd be interested to see what they do down the road as far as like what music are they using here? Because it doesn't seem like it's anything current. It's maybe more indie label stuff, or I don't know the artist, and I'm not going to sit here and certainly disparage them. I just don't recognize the music.
Sure. I think
not that I'm one that listens to top 40 music.
Oh my god, yeah. I think the play here is right now, it's on my list right now. Soundfall is on the bottom, but we've only seen a couple things. I've got Leckhead on top, and I've got Batora right under that, and then Soundfall. And Batora and Soundfall, I was doing star ratings at first in my head, like number ratings, and I pretty much gave them the same rating. Okay. Because there's things about each one I would like more or less. But I think I put Soundfall just under Batora, and because we've only seen 3 games: Leckhead, Batora, and Soundfall. There's only 3 games that we've seen.
Right.
So
I see what you did there. All right, let's continue.
Why is it freezing in here?
You better be ready to weather the snowstorm in Wild Frost. Take on the harsh elements in this tactical roguelike deck builder from Deadpan Games. Build and customize your deck as you set off to put an end to the eternal frost.
Card companions and items are at your disposal. Use him to battle wave after wave of monsters, from the deceptively cute penguins to brash and brutal bosses. Plan your next move using the dynamic counter system and fell those frosty fiends. After each run, try daily challenges or expand the hub town of Snowdwell to unlock new events and cards. Helpful for your fight against the perpetual winter.
Wild Frost makes its snowy debut on Nintendo Switch this holiday.
All right. That looks like definitely a Chucklefish style game. Definitely love the artwork. I am there for deck builders, and I wish I was there more because I've got 3 on a shelf behind me I haven't touched yet. But yeah, and I've talked about this before, but it reminds me of the Adventure Time card game-ish game that was on Android. I had a lot of fun with that game, and this reminds me heavily of that style of play, artwork and everything. So yeah, I'm there for that. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, it gives me like big like Slay the Spire vibes, which I've heard nothing but good things about and haven't played myself. But also like it's been a good time for games that are like card driven anyway, because we saw like this looks good, Slay the Spire was good. We saw what was the one that you played the demo of?
Oh
that
man,
was available.
The Steam one. Oh, it's another Devolver Digital, wasn't it?
Yeah, where like the cards like could talk to you because they had
Yeah.
sentient things trapped in them and stuff.
One with the stoat. What was that called? It was a demo I played.
Yeah, Inscription.
Yes.
That was really good. And then we had what was the other one there?
I also have East of Eden sitting on my shelf, and I really want to try out too. That was another deck builder.
Well, there was like, I guess it's not necessarily the same thing, but in the genre of like card-based games, we had the Isle Dragon Roars from the guy who made Nier Automata.
Kind of a card theme, but
Like
yeah, that's
card themed, yeah.
right. No, I definitely love the aesthetic of that game. That's another game I haven't gone back to past the demo, which is back catalog city here.
For sure. Yeah, it's good times. We've been hitting good times, I think, for like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and those always have like a nice like not retro feel, but like nostalgia feel. Like when you were a kid and you messed around with poker decks more because you just had them and you didn't even have much else to like mess with. So like it was just a thing you did.
Sure.
Maybe it's just me. I mean, my childhood, I made card games out of decks of poker cards with new rules and everything because I didn't have a lot to work with.
Right.
So it was interesting to me.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that game. That's coming out this holiday. I'll be checking that out for sure. All right,
Absolutely.
Let's keep going here.
Hej, jag heter Hanna.
Und ich heiße Rebecca.
We're from Landful Games, a small game studio based in Stockholm, Sweden. And we are excited to announce that our game, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, or TAPS for short, will be coming to Nintendo Switch.
We first started working on TAPS in 2016. The idea was to make a game that is inspired by the feeling you got when playing with your action figures as a kid. We then added the strategy and fighting elements and turned the game into the wobbly experience that it is today.
Our wonderful community has been with us along the way and helped us shape the game with their suggestions and feedback. So together with them, we're proud to bring TAPS to this awesome platform.
It's a lot of pins.
Do the wobble wobble.
Wait, what?
You heard that right. In this fighting game from Landfall Games, you'll lead teams of over 100 wobblers in battle, hailing from ancient lands, spooky worlds, and fantasy realms.
Those wobbly physics are, very, wobbly.
Oh, they're awesome! And those aren't your garden variety battles either. Watch your wobblers flail and fail in silly simulated battles. Or make new ones in the unit creator and customize their size, weight, and speed, among other stats. Can't get enough of the wobble? Send them to fight your friends in online multiplayer mayhem. Say it with me, it's wobbling time!
You never cease to amaze me. Totally accurate battle simulator. Wobbles. It's way onto Nintendo Switch this summer.
Okay, let's talk about tabs. Obviously, I think this has already been on Steam for quite some time. They said they were developing this since 2016.
Yeah.
I like the art aesthetic of it. I like the creativity of it. I just need someone to sell me on the idea of, is this game going to be interesting after the first hour?
Yeah, that's... I know what tabs is from seeing it already on the internet and seeing it around. So
Sure.
I immediately put it on the bottom of my list. No offense, it's just the least likely purchase for me.
Right. I'm sure.
Not just the Switch version in general, but like the other games we've seen here have like interesting dynamic gameplay, challenging puzzles, moments that make me think or calculate. There's like, I'm sure it'll be like wacky fun, but like you said, wacky fun gets old like in a day.
Right. It's definitely got a heavy novelty theme going on to this, and it's like, how is that going to keep my interest long enough to keep wanting to play this? Is there I need to know if there's like a storyline mode or something that's going to keep me back to keep progressing, because it just at this point it just kind of seems like a physics simulator with some AI, and even like the online aspect of it, I just can't. I really can't see that grabbing me for too long. But I mean, I'm sure it's a great game, and I don't want to sound disparaging towards it.
No, exactly. I'm sure for a lot of people, it's fun to just load it up and be wacky and do crazy shit with it. Especially like if you're younger, I could imagine like the kids having a fun time, like giggling about like watching the crazy mammoth fights or like the dudes carrying boats and shit.
Absolutely. So yeah, maybe this is more dynamic for a younger audience, but it's not grabbing me. I feel they seem like nice ladies. I feel bad saying that, but
they seem like nice ladies. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. It doesn't look like that's going to be for me. Again, I'd want to see a demo of that before I touched it and committed any kind of money towards it. That's kind of where I'm at with that one.
Yep, absolutely. I just can't see myself wanting to like sign on and be like, I'm gonna play tabs again today after playing it yesterday. Like,
right.
Personally.
All right, let's keep going here.
You're a gruff woodsman on a quest for revenge in this noir punk action adventure from Doinksoft. Armed with the titular Gumbrella, you'll maneuver through various locations, from a cultish town to a junkyard fortress. Use the Gumbrella to glide, swing, dash, dive, and take out enemies in gritty side-scrolling combat.
Along the way, you'll scavenge for scraps and spare parts to upgrade the Gumbrella. And employ your sleuthing skills to assist a cast of increasingly bizarre characters in a world rapidly losing its natural resources. And that's just the beginning of your investigation. Plenty of dark twists and turns lie ahead.
Gumbrella launches on Nintendo Switch next year.
All right. You already know this is on my top 5, and I'm probably confident that it's probably on yours too.
You know what's funny? I originally put it 4th under Wild Frost, Electhead, Wild Frost, and Batora, and then I was like, I'm going to like the platforming, and there's going to be puzzles to solve, and the combat looks really engaging, so I put it up above everything but Electhead. only because I think Electhead's puzzles are going to be more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say for sure. I feel like a lot of Gunbrella's puzzles are going to be like combat oriented or like simple. You learn like Metroidvania, like you got an ability, use the ability.
Sure.
Whereas I feel like Electhead's is going to have to be more dynamically challenging in order for like to
More
because they have like one
puzzle-oriented.
mechanic, right? So like
Mhm.
yeah. So either the challenges are going to get too easy too fast, or they'll be really good. So I guess it's a toss. But I did move it up to the second slot under Electhead.
Fair enough.
Which is funny because I don't care for the aesthetic at all. I don't like the whole like the whatever like timeline and framing they're doing with it doesn't appeal to me specifically.
A little steampunk, a
But-
little westerny, almost like
Yeah.
Steam World.
It's not anything I've ever been like, oh man, steampunk, or like, oh yeah, like Western. Like I don't care about any of that. But to be fair, one of my favorite games of all time is Hollow Knight, and one of my most looked upcoming games is Silksong. And I obviously never had a big thing for like bug worlds before that, so obviously the game can transcend the world, or the world can be immersive regardless of whether you're interested in it or not. To begin with, like,
I think you're just captured in the propaganda of Big Bug.
my God, big bug.
Yeah, I definitely like it. I think with the art style, I agree there. It kind of reaches back to a lot of more generic, I think, 3DS side scroller titles, but gameplay wise,
Yeah.
I think we'll make up for that. But it does
Like it's
have
not like
that-
it's a bad aesthetic. It's just not for me personally.
Sure.
I'm
No,
sure,
I
like,
totally
it's
agree.
like Spelunky. Spelunky has that same like. Everyone tells me it's a great game, and I'm sure that it is, and I'm going to play it one day, and I'll like it.
Mhm.
But the visual aesthetics of Spelunky and like the narrative of like exploring caves and whatever doesn't appeal to me directly. It's the platforming and the puzzles and the challenge that I'd want.
Absolutely.
All
right.
But like I said, I didn't care about bugs until in Hollow Knight, I guess. And now
Fair.
I'm like a bug fanatic.
Let's keep going here.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Huntley, lead programmer on We Are OFK.
And I'm Luca LaFay, lead singer of the band OFK.
We're super excited to announce that our music biopic game is coming to Nintendo Switch.
Yes! Ooh, I can play it on a tour bus. Ugh, I can't wait to tour together.
We haven't seen each other since that music video brainstorm at your place in LA in 2019?
Yeah, wow. And with the game on handheld, it'll be easy to play the new episodes that are coming out every single week, back to back to back.
Can't wait to share OFK's story and music with y'all.
Hey Jared, can I get your opinion on tour outfits?
This musical narrative from indie pop band OFK is gonna take you on quite the emotional ride. Set in downtown Los Angeles, Itsumi Saito struggles to establish herself in LA's ruthless music scene while managing a full-time job, a social life, and a brutal commute. But a chance encounter with a rising Hollywood music producer may give her the edge she needs to achieve her dreams.
Through episodes released weekly and interactive music videos with a fully voiced cast, you'll witness the lives of Itsumi and her friends unfold.
You're allowed to take a break and not be okay for a second.
Thank you.
From fighting over song lyrics at band practice to sending silly memes via text, it's a heartfelt making of the band journey that's sure to pull at your heartstrings.
We Are OFK. Drums onto Nintendo Switch this summer.
All right. I love the music and I love the aesthetic, and I am there for that vaporwave 80s synthwave look and sound. I am 100% there. Story-wise and gameplay, I didn't really see much gameplay, but it just seems like it's very dialogue heavy, or
Mhm.
I just don't feel like I am the target audience. I think it looks well executed. I'm interested to see the weekly episode, how that gets done. But again, I just don't think I'm the target audience for this game. And that's
Yeah,
okay.
fair. I feel like I'm. See, okay, so here I'm kind of torn on this one. So I originally put it in slot 6, just out of my top 5, and then I just moved it above Soundfall and left it in the 5th slot, right at the edge of my top 5.
Mhm.
And the reason I did that is because I'm pretty sure this is a game that if I actually sit down and play it, I will take away more from it when I'm done than a game like Soundfall, or probably
Okay.
even a game like Batora, probably even a game like Wild Frost. Honestly, the story will probably stick to me a lot more than these other games because
Mhm.
I feel like this game's a lot more story first, and therefore the story would be more impactful. And I think in the long run, games tend to stick to me more when they're story driven than gameplay driven because gameplay is something where you have fun doing it and then you forget about it. You put it down, you leave it
Sure.
alone. There's not many games where the gameplay is like shines so much that you're like, man, remember the gameplay from this game instead of like remember the story of this game. Um, that said, I think that there's from a gameplay perspective, I don't think there's a lot to do in this game. I think it's going to be like a Doki Doki style game where like it's a great game and people should play it,
Sure.
but it's not something you're going to enjoy playing in the same way you would enjoy playing Gunbrella or like Head or anything else on my list, honestly.
Right.
So,
And I think, I mean, that's definitely fair. And I mean, there is a huge emergence of like story based. I want to call them games, but I don't know if they are. They're more like, you're basically playing through a story.
like a visual novel almost. Yeah.
Sure. Like an interactive, it's more like a visual interactive novel. So I don't know if it would be fair to even put this in a ranking just because it's so separated from games themselves.
Right. And well, that's the thing. Like when people say, like, what are some of your favorite games of all time? I will mention Doki Doki Literature Club,
Mhm.
and I will be like, but who boy is it not really a game? Like if you're gonna sit down and
Right.
play it, just be ready to sit down and like read and or watch because it's not really a game. It is, but I don't want to like exclude it from the category of games. It's
Right.
just
Have your
there's a world
therapist
of
on
difference
speed
to me.
dial.
Yeah, there's a world of difference between We Are OFK and Doki Doki Literature Club and games like that,
Mhm.
and games that have like a gameplay element that is a lot less interactive and or more game centric.
Sure.
So I moved this one into the 5th slot because I know that I will probably enjoy this story more than anything on this list.
That's fair.
But I can't put it in my top 4 against other games that I know I would enjoy playing. Even a game like Batora, I feel like Batora is a game that I'll walk away from, and in 3 months you'll be like, "What was Batora about?" I don't fucking know, dude, but it was fun.
Right.
Like, or at the very least, the story won't stick to me as much as like We Are Okay. Wild Frost, and Wild Frost is like snow bad. That's the story. Like, okay, I get it. But I know Wild Frost gameplay will be very engaging for me, and I will love it. So yeah, I put it in the 5th slot, and we'll see if it hangs in there. I guess.
Fair.
It's just it's tough to like. I don't know. I mean, I guess we didn't, and that's the thing is like even they didn't show us a lot of the gameplay because they showed us answering messages and they showed like a random swimming in a city segment kind of thing, and like I feel like it's one of those games where you're not going to have like a core gameplay loop. You're going to have a bunch of random individual instances of weird gameplay mechanics, like doing this thing, doing that thing, and doing
Sure.
this thing, and you'll never do any of them a second time. They're
Right.
just like ways that the game can translate what it's like to be in the moment of doing a certain thing or saying a certain thing. Which is good in its own right, but I don't think that leads to like a game that I'm going to want to go back and replay, or a game that I'm going to like be like, man, you've got to play this.
Sure.
I'll be like, you've got to watch. If anything, this would be a game that I would like recommend. Like, hey, this YouTuber played it, and you should watch them play it because it's a great game,
Mhm.
and you don't have to sit there and do the monotonous like, yeah, I get it, yeah, I get it, yeah, I get it. You can enjoy it like a movie. And I feel bad because I don't like doing that because then the game doesn't get bought; it gets watched, and I want the game to get bought. But
right.
I know a lot of people who I look at them and be like, dude, one of the best experiences you'll ever have is like Doki Doki Literature Club, and you're not gonna like it, so I don't recommend it.
Mhm.
But if you sat down and watched someone play it, you'd love it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if this plays similar to like something like Disco Elysium, where it's very like dialogue based, it tells a story. I'm interested. I think I just want to probably like watch like the first hour of someone playing it first to see if it's something that I know is going to grab me. I have every confidence that it's going to tell a good story. I have all the confidence in the world that the sound and aesthetic is going to permeate through the entire game very well.
Absolutely.
And all tie together very well. I feel like this is maybe for a more feminine audience than what I am.
Well, and the thing with this game, like, the thing with this game is I feel like this is probably going to be like the most artistic game on this list, or like the
Sure.
best story-driven game on this list, most
Mhm.
likely. But as much as I love story-driven games, like from what I've seen, if I had to rate this game on story and then on gameplay, it's like probably close to a 10, like a 9, but then close to like a 0, like a 1.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's a middling game because
It executes X, Y, and Z very well, but doesn't do
right,
anything
it's
with
like
A, B, and C.
it's like getting a really good pizza, and it's like, dude, like the sauce and the cheese in this pizza is fantastic, but it's literally on cardboard. Like I couldn't give it a perfect score. I couldn't put it in my top 5 for that. Like,
Sure.
but I mean, I could be wrong. That's the thing. I don't think there's enough information here for me to give it a more fair rating. So
Right.
until
I'd really like to see some more
how it plays,
gameplay before
right?
before
Until
I
I
make
can
a
see more of how it plays,
true judgment on
I-
this.
yeah, I have to leave it right at the edge of my top 5, like that.
Sure.
Right inside the edge of my top 5, to be fair. But I'm pretty sure something else will knock it out. No offense to it.
Fair enough. Well, let's keep going.
I'm Dom.
And I'm Tom.
And we're Spiral Circus.
We are an indie games developer based in Bristol, UK, and our passion for the stranger and surreal side of art is what brought us together.
We both come from really different backgrounds. I was a research scientist and Tom's a fine artist.
Because of the pandemic, we've been an entirely remote team, and almost all of Silt has been hand-drawn at night by me, which seems entirely appropriate for the subject matter.
Our audio designer even set up a fish tank in his studio to record the underwater sounds that you'll be hearing throughout the game.
We're really excited for you to experience our hand-drawn work brought to life, and we hope you enjoy exploring the strange oceanic world of Silt on Nintendo Switch.
Take a deep breath and dive into the harrowing ocean abyss. In the depths of this puzzle adventure from Spiral Circus Games, you'll unravel long forgotten mysteries as you explore a surreal underwater realm filled with strange machinery, ancient ruins, and dangerous ocean inhabitants.
A variety of sea creatures can be possessed. Harness their abilities to solve puzzles, navigate the haunting environment, and survive encounters against deep-sea Goliaths. There's more than meets the eye in this unsettling, monochrome world.
Plunge into the dark waters of Silt, launching on Nintendo Switch next month.
All right. I don't know where to go with this one. I feel like I've played this game already. It looks like Limbo, but it looks like I've already played it, like underwater games very similar to this. I think I got a couple in a Humble Bundle one time, and it just feels like I've already played this. It doesn't really jump out as unique, and I appreciate the art and aesthetic and the work that goes into it, don't get me wrong. I just feel like this game has been already out multiple times.
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
I just
This
go ahead.
the game, like, I literally wrote down for the description of the game, I put puzzle Limbo like.
Yeah, Limbo,
It's
exactly.
very much what it's like in line with.
Right.
The swimming part also reminds me of Inside, which was another game by the Limbo studio.
Gotcha.
Had some swimming segments that were just like that segment, or that
Mhm.
was. It also reminds me of a game that when I was at GameStop, there was a game that got produced. It was the first game that GameStop's like studio made called Song of the Deep.
I
It's actually a pretty cool
yes. Okay. Yes.
That's
Yes.
very much also what it feels like to me.
Mhm.
So I absolutely get where you're coming from, where you're like, I feel like I've played this game before. It really feels like another one of those exact kind of things. I get it. We're underwater. There's mystery. There's puzzles to solve. Yada yada. Like, it's not like it's bad. I'm sure it's great. For me, it knocked out We Are OFK from my top 5. It took number 5. It's not. I don't think it'll be as engaging as like Head Gunbrella, Wild Frost, or Batora, but I do think there's going to be good gameplay tied into like the puzzle solving mechanics and etc.
Sure.
So, we'll see.
I definitely like the uniqueness where like you kind of get like powers and you use those powers to solve puzzles or progress through the level.
Mhm.
I just don't think it's enough to separate itself from a genre that I've already played thoroughly. I'm trying to look up the
absolutely.
game on Steam, and I've already come across 3 different ones that are this game, and I'm not finding the one that I was actually looking for. So
Yeah, exactly.
so I not what I'm going to be grabbing, but if anyone out there who hasn't done a game like this, please grab it. Support the artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I just it's not making my list.
Hey, a way to avoid traffic. Morning commutes can be a real jam, if you get my drift.
Oh, I know, right? But guess what? In Mini Motorways from developer Dinosaur Polo Club, the key to solving the city's congestion problems is you. Draw and build roads to create a bustling metropolis and keep traffic flowing on maps inspired by real-life cities. As demands interchange, you'll continuously redesign and expand via upgrades like highways and roundabouts.
Ramp up the difficulty by taking part in daily and weekly challenges. More maps will unlock as you become a master road designer. How long can you keep the cities of the world moving?
Buckle up for Mini Motorways, cruising onto Nintendo Switch later today.
All right. Mini Motorways. Will I buy this game? 100%. Will I play it for 2 hours, then never touch it again? Most likely. I have an addiction problem to like very casual, simple style graphic games. The game looks amazing from an artistic standpoint, at least for me. It's got really clean, crisp, like poppy, graphics. I enjoy that aesthetic. Does it have lasting power? I don't know. It looks like maybe the puzzles get whatever you have there get increasingly harder over time. Well, like I said, I'm definitely going to buy it. I don't know if I would put it on the top 5 though. It's just I'm kind of weird.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of like a weird thing there, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm at a weird spot. I haven't actually placed it yet because my initial response was to put it under Sill. But I don't know. I mean, it seems like fun and engaging.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would really come down to like how long can it hold my attention?
Right.
Like, because it kind of feels like a mobile game, doesn't it? Like a phone game.
It does. And
Like,
I think it's like a perfect game for if you have like 10 minutes to dick around in it. It's perfect for that. But
I think if it came to my phone, I'd get it for sure.
Right.
But I don't know if I'd bother to go out of my way getting it for like the Switch or my PC or something.
Right. Am I gonna get out this mohonkin thing to play it for like 5-10 minutes, like at a doctor's office or something? I don't know.
I think I am more likely to pick up Sill on the Switch to play than I would pick up this.
Okay.
So I think I have to put it right under Sill for me.
That's fair. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna buy it because I'll probably play it.
Yeah.
At like 5 minutes before bedtime, just maybe once or twice. The art is really appealing to me. I don't know why.
Right. I think I like it. It's being just outside my top 5 isn't bad. Obviously, I think so far everything on my list is something I'd want to play at some point other than Tabs.
Right.
But,
right.
And nothing against Tabs. It's just that game is absolutely not for me.
Sure.
I think I have to put it under Silt because I feel myself sitting down to do a play session of Silt and not sitting down to do a play session of Mini Motorways. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I think Mini Motorways is something I would pick up and play, like if I was about to fall asleep or something, which for me is like a good phone game. I don't think it's something I would. 9 o'clock hits, I put the kids to bed and I hop on Mini Motorways. Like, no, I don't think so.
Right. Don't lie. You're
But
going to
cool,
go
though.
Final Fantasy every day first.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, all power
That's
to
a
them. It
lion's
looks
time.
like a cool thing. Absolutely.
100%. All right, what do we have
Whoa, a flying hospital. That's new. I've never seen that before.
Then hop aboard this heartfelt narrative adventure from Ghost Pattern, set in 1970s rural Australia. As intrepid teen journalist Casey, you'll come to know a diverse cast of eclectic voiced characters through the stories they tell and the moments you share. Each story unfolds in real time, at the same time, so you get to choose which ones you want to experience. Follow the hospital's inhabitants, eavesdrop on them, or enter the room and be part of the conversation.
Darcy, right? Mrs. B's kid?
It's, Casey. Not, Casey. Just Casey.
Sure.
By keeping track of information in your notebook and spending time with certain characters, you might unearth new stories, locations, and revelations. Multiple playthroughs will also give you the opportunity to witness other events, allowing you to delve deeper into the stories and weave together mysteries aboard the airship. Wayward Strand lands on Nintendo Switch July 21st.
Okay. This is like a quintessential no one asked for this. I feel like I'm confused. Why is it in the 70s? It doesn't look like it takes place in the 70s. And it's a floating hospital. So it's why does it need to be in the 70s? A floating hospital is enough. I don't know.
For me, I put it at almost the bottom of my list above tabs.
That's fair.
And I think it's because, again, looking at the other games on this list, including Mini Motorways, including Soundfall, including We Are OFK, I think I would enjoy playing those more than this game.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate what they're doing with, like, from a technical perspective and an artistic perspective, I appreciate games that do like you can go back and play again and see different things.
Right.
Or like the story changes if you do certain things. But I do not want to play this game repeatedly. Like this game does not look like a game that I would want to pick up a second time.
Right.
And be like, oh man, I would want to see what happens with the old people in this room instead of that room. Like it's not the story itself seems like a decent enough story to tie the game together. But it's not engaging enough to pull me to come back to play again just to find out what happened with this person and that person and like I don't know. It doesn't hook me enough to want to go back and do that. And I think a big part of the game is having to go back and play it again to see what you missed.
Right.
And that's not hooking me. I'd rather play Soundfall and actually have a dungeon crawl, or I'd rather play We Are OFK, which feels like it has a single narrative-driven experience instead of this sort of weird branchy. You missed an event, you saw a thing, hey, why don't you play again and see what you missed this time? Like,
sure.
No. How many times am I going to play this game before I get the whole story? Like,
right.
I don't know. I appreciate those games, but they're not for me at all.
I think for people who like these interactive stories that are diehards for them, I think this is perfect for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I don't... Like I can see like a younger person playing this and be like, oh, I enjoy this. Someone who's like, who has a Switch but is an avid reader.
Right.
I could see them enjoying that, and that's okay. That
yeah, for sure.
But again, it's not for me. It's definitely not going to hit my top 5.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agreed.
Okay, let's keep going here.
A randomly generated world awaits in this action-adventure game from Massive Monster. As a possessed lamb saved by a foreboding stranger from a ritual sacrifice, you need to repay your debt by creating a loyal community of woodland worshippers.
Gather resources to build structures. Then, gather your courage to brave deadly dungeons like the Silk Cradle. Venture through its dark depths, teeming with razor spiders and toxic millipedes, to challenge the dungeon's overlord Shimura. There ain't anything sheepish about it.
Cult of the Lamb drops onto Nintendo Switch this year.
Okay. This is right on brand for Devolver Digital. The gameplay is interesting. The art style, I'm just not into. It reminds me of Don't Starve a little bit, and I don't like Don't Starve's art style at all.
Yeah, same. That's what I was getting.
Again, like Devolver Digital is just so out there with their games, man. I don't know. It's really close to a top 5 game. I just can't put it up there yet.
I think that's where I am. I think I'm going to put it above Mini Motorways in the number 6 slot because it looks fine. It doesn't look like a bad game. The gameplay seems like whatever, not bad. Nothing is making me like, oh man, I want to play that.
Right.
Like it's one of those like if you handed it to me and said play it, I'd be like, all right, I guess. I wouldn't turn it away.
Sure.
But I'd be like, I wouldn't go out of my way to find it either.
and I'm sure and I'm confident enough that there's an engaging gameplay loop there, and I'm sure there's a lot of goofy stuff that be had in there too, and like just the weirdness factor I guarantee you is there. I'm just hesitant on rolling the dice on that one. That's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and you know what, that's like, you mentioned before games that feel like they've been done a bunch of times. This feels like a game that I've seen done a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm. That's
like,
fair too.
already.
Definitely. All right, let's keep going here.
Yeah.
Hey Crab fans, I'm Nick.
And I'm Kalen. Previously, Aggro Crab released Going Under, and it didn't make us rich. So this time, we're selling out and giving the people what they want. Crabs. Our second project is a crustacean-themed Souls-like, another crab's treasure.
Through our extensive research, we've found that crabs are the perfect enemy for an action game. They've got natural weapons, can strafe from side to side, and you can hit their weak point for massive damage.
Souls-likes are known for their difficulty, and we want to create a game that maintains that challenge while being approachable for new fans of the genre.
Ooh, what if you died in one hit when you're not wearing a shell?
I just said it's supposed to be approachable.
Oh, what if every time you dodge roll, there's like a 1% chance that you just trip and fall over?
Well, looks like our segment's over, everyone.
It's time for Crab.
All right, Eriko, put your pincers up.
Oh, here we go with the crab puns.
Crab-salutely.
Anyway, in this action-adventure from Aggro Crab, you'll embark on an epic treasure hunt under the sea to buy back your repossessed shell. While wading through this underwater world plagued by pollution and sinister secrets, you'll scavenge for trash and use it as a shell to defend yourself in challenging combat.
There are over 50 potential shells, so get shellfish with them and repel enemies with powerful umami magic. If you don't, you'll be in a pinch before you know it. After all, one crab's trash is another crab's treasure, which sidesteps onto Nintendo Switch next year.
All right. This is probably the first game I've seen tonight that looks like I could dump hours into.
Yeah.
I am there for the humor. Crab-based humor is always where I want to be. So I'm definitely going to pick this up. This is going to be pretty high on my list. I enjoy Aggro Crab. Their social media engagement is phenomenal. The art style's pretty much right on cue for the nice, beautiful lobsters. The art style is right on brand for them. It looks very similar to their last game, Going Under, as far as it's kind of like that more simplistic, shady, like cell shady look.
Yeah.
Humor wise, yeah, I'm definitely there for it. I think it'll be a very enjoyable game. It's got that Souls-like appeal, which I'm not big on personally, but it looks like it's funny enough to kind of keep you engaged, and I can see myself really dumping a lot of time into this game.
Oh, definitely. I slotted it in slot 3. It knocked Silt out of my top 5.
Nice.
I put it under Electhead and Gunbrella, but above everything else, and I think it's because the type of game I enjoy the most is that like Metroidvania style platformer puzzle solver.
Mm-hmm.
And I think outside of the fact that Electhead and Gunbrella have that, Another Crab's Treasure seems like the best game that they've shown today.
Sure.
And for a lot of people, it probably is their number one game. The only reason it doesn't beat out those top 2 is because for me, a game like Hollow Knight or a game like that of that style and genre will move up a few points because of my personal bias.
Right. That's fair. I'm hoping at the end of this that we have a different list. That's why we have taste and all that. So yeah, we'll see. right, let's keep going here. It looks like I think we're getting into a sizzle reel here.
For our last segment, we'd
yeah.
like to show you a sneak
that's pretty
peek of
fun.
several more indie games coming to Nintendo Switch. Enjoy!
All right, so that was called One Shot. Unfortunately, with a sizzle reel, we're not getting a lot of details here, but I liked the way that they incorporated that graphical UI, kind of like how Doki Doki did. So my interests are drawn to it. Maybe we can see if we have other trailers for these games.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking I might just write all the names down and keep them out of my top list because I'm not seeing enough to really base anything on.
Right.
But keep them all the names on the side just so I can like think about what I want to see later on them.
Let's see if we have full trailers for these games. So that one was called One Shot. Yeah, here we go. All right, that was a much more fair look at that game. Why the hell didn't they put that trailer in the indie world?
Yeah, that like off of what we saw when I just said, like the quick blurb where they were like one shot and they showed a couple of things. I wasn't interested, but actually watching this and seeing like the setup and like the mechanic and everything for it, I'm very interested in this game.
Yes.
Definitely.
Definitely.
That's wild why they wouldn't have put that more time into that one.
All right. That's kind of where I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's just a very, very small budget studio and they just didn't have the funds to put like a big trailer up, but it's like, holy shit, that blew some of the other stuff out of the water that we've seen tonight on the large trailers.
Yeah, I have to put that up under another crab in slot 4 because like that looked pretty good. Like pretty interesting. And I wouldn't have even listed the game based on the sizzle reel. I would have been like, I don't know, I guess. Man, that's wild that they did them dirty like that.
Yeah.
I will say that it gave me like Undertale vibes at first. The way they were like, hey, we're doing meta commentary and stuff. And then but no, it was actually really interesting the way that it looks and the way it, like everything about that was appealing to me to put it in my top 5. Wild that a game would have made my top 5 out of like the 20 games that we're going to talk about, and yet it got such a bad showing that like I wouldn't have considered it.
And I'm glad that we're watching these trailers because that the scissor reel does those games a disservice. And it's like I said, like
Sure.
that blew some of the other content way out of the water that was on the big
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, it did. Easy top 5 for me. It pushed Batora off my top 5, the RPG game, because it looked like a more interesting mechanic and world than Batora's. Like, Batora didn't look bad, but Batora looked very cookie cutter.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I agree there. All right, so our next one is called Gibbon Beyond the Trees. Let's take a look at this one. All right. Oops. Shush. So this is just Unravel with monkeys.
Yeah, it's artistically it's cool, and thematically, if this is a theme that you're on board with, it seems like a really good depiction of that type of world and that type of experience. For me personally, it's not something I see myself bothering to play. I think my kids would like it, especially my daughter.
Sure.
I think would think it was awesome.
Yeah, this would be a great age for, or a great game for like people in that kids in that age, like they're like really into animals, zoos, and dinosaurs. That whole phase. I could see maybe if my daughter was a little younger, she'd probably be into this. I just
Age
we're not
7,
the
I think she'll
demographic.
fall right in the category for this.
Sure.
Oops. I put it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I put it 12th on my list right now, above Wayward Strand, because it seems like it's more fun and engaging than that game.
Mm-hmm.
But below pretty much everything else except Wayward Strand and Tabs. I think it looks like a game where, again, if you handed me that game and said play it, it'd be fun. But I don't think I would go out of my way to get it.
Yeah. If I had just nothing else better to do, sit around.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah,
a fun, wacky thing to play, but not really a big deal.
Right. I see that filling in the bottom of the list for me, at least. Okay,
Yeah,
next, Idol Manager.
For years I dreamed of being an idol, and now my dream has come true. Sure, the pay is bad, and I don't have much time to rest with our busy practice schedule, but it's all for the fans.
The manager thinks he's doing the new girl a favor by having her replace me as a center. They both have another thing coming.
We've spent so long practicing for this concert, but the venue seems kind of sketchy. That lighting rig looks like it could collapse at any time.
Ever since we hit the top of the charts, we've been getting way more exposure. We even got invited to appear in a talent show with other idol groups.
Huh? One of the judges is the leader of a rival group? Well, that doesn't seem fair.
Recently, I've been spending a lot of time with our manager, and he's always there to vouch for me. I think we're even starting to become close. Is it okay for us to start going out like this?
Ever since I put that kid in charge of managing an idol group, it's been one negative headline after another. But the group seems to be turning a profit despite constant bad press. Did I make the right decision in backing someone that inexperienced?
I always dreamed of being part of the greatest idol group in Japan. But I ended up here instead.
Conquer the entertainment industry using any means you deem necessary. Find out what kind of manager you are when Idle Manager releases first for PC coming 2020.
I will say, this is absolutely not for me.
Yeah.
It seems like a high school drama simulator. I recognize the guy, voice actor, from other stuff, but no, this just
He
seems
reminds
like
me of
a
the
dating
Jackbox
sim
guy,
kind of.
actually.
Jackbox guy?
He reminds me of the guy, not Quiplash, but there's what game is it that his voice sounds like his voice?
I don't know.
God, it's not Quiplash, but it's something else. Oh man,
We'll have to dig around for it. Yeah. This is just like a dating sim, for lack of better terms. There's obviously a huge audience out there for this. I'm not that audience. That is obviously not making any top list for me.
I'm stuck if I want to put it above or below Given. Well, because like Gibbon's gameplay seems more fun, but Gibbon seems like this at least has like a story that would be like interesting to pay attention to, as opposed to like Gibbon being like we're monkeys.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think like the gameplay is better in Gibbon, but the story might be better here.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of anything that's low on my list, I just
it doesn't really matter where it goes.
No,
right?
it doesn't really matter.
I think I'll put it under Gibbon only because I think I would have a harder time justifying to anyone playing Idle Manager.
Sure.
No offense. Like again, it's just one of those like, what made you want to buy this game? Well,
yeah.
As with monkeys, I could be like, it's the monkeys, but
right. All right. Let me see. This looks like a juicy reel here. This is Card Shark. Another weird digital game. I'll tell you, the game didn't really have me until the duels at the end, and then the gunshots went off. If you like the intrigue of Downton Abbey with the cards, with cards and cheating at games, this game is for you.
Yeah.
I certainly appreciate the art aesthetic of it. I just want to know more, and I don't think I was given enough information here.
Yeah, I think I put Card Shark in slot 8 underneath Sill and above Cult of the Lamb, because I think like there's a lot of Card Shark seems to have a lot of puzzles in the terms of like how can you make this cheat happen? What are you looking for the information? Where is it? With a cool narrative too. I'm not again the era and the thematics of where you are and stuff doesn't matter to me, but like the whole like it gives me like what's a good vibe for that? A good word for that vibe, like the running escalation story, where like you're going to keep cheating more and getting moved up to higher and more noble people and more important people, and it's going to evolve into like mysterious espionage sort of plots to kill people, like he was like, oh, you think we're in this carriage together for a reason? Like it feels like a whole world of narrative mystery would be built around that, and it would be fun to explore it and then crack it open.
Yeah, I think I want to see more of this. I would just want to see more of what this game does. And I think if I like that, then I think that would probably push me over the edge into a purchase.
Right.
But
I think
I'm not really sure.
I think what's tough about showing this game too much is I think a lot of the game's appeal would be like seeing the tricks and secrets in the middle of, like, in the moment. Like you
Sure.
saw that one where he passes the card over the spoon, and you can see the reflection that it's a queen,
Mm-hmm.
and you can make your you can make your signal based on that.
Pull
And
the
I
ace out
think
of
they
your
can't show
sleeve.
too much of that before the players are like, I've seen it already or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
I think a
totally
demo
agree.
would go a long way to make people find interest in this game.
100%. Yeah, that's kind of a theme tonight. I would definitely like to see more gameplay of this before making a final decision, but at this point, I can't say it would make a top 5. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's not like it's far from my top 5 right now. It's in my 8 spot.
Sure.
But there's a lot of games here too. I think right now we're sitting at 15 or 16 games right now, and there's
Mhm.
still some more on the sizzle. So like, it'll definitely be in the top half of my games. That's for sure. Well, most
Right.
likely, we'll see.
Let me see this guy here.
In Curse to Golf, take on
Curse
the
to
role
Golf.
of a recently deceased
I will
golf
do my
champion
best to
who,
give
after a
a
freak
golf game an
accident, finds
objective
themselves trapped in
measure.
golf purgatory. In an ironic twist of fate, they must golf their way through 18 dungeon-like holes to ascend. Taking place across 4 beautiful but deadly biomes, hit satisfying golf shots to survive the onslaught of golfing hazards in this exciting new golf-like adventure that will test any unprepared Sunday driver.
Have I told you about the Ace cards?
Ace cards are powerful ball-manipulating power-ups that will be vital to any golfer's success in ascending. Find them in Eternity, a chain of golf stores occupied by one of 3 legendary caddies. They will teach you everything they know about the mysteries of golf purgatory. Pass their trials, gain their skill, and get one step closer to ascending. And when you do, maybe you can help them with their fates in return. In Curse to...
Whoops. All right. I don't know. I have played Golf Story on the Switch. I really enjoyed Golf Story because it's actually a really good RPG. I could give a shit less about sports. Of course, they're going to do a sequel here soon. At least they announced one. The Switch has a weird collection of like golf games. Like, was it Golfing with Friends? This is Curse to Golf, Mario Golf. There's a lot of golf games on here. Enough to like say like I don't really need to jump into this. The art style is pretty cool. I'm always there for pixel art. But it just seems more like an Angry Birds with more dynamic things to do.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat my words a little bit here. I put it in my top 5. I knocked out Wild Frost to put it in there because I think this looks more fun than the card game to me.
Okay.
Only because it feels like there's a sense of progression. Like it feels like you're gaining abilities, you're moving
Sure.
up. It gives me like Metroidvania vibes.
Okay.
And I think that would make me enjoy it enough to keep it in my top 5.
That's interesting.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the way the trailer struck me.
Uh-huh.
But it feels like the whole game is built around solving puzzles and moving up, as opposed to like
Being very centered around golf. It's not for as
yeah. I
being a
expect
golf
it to
game.
be like a golf game because that's what it looks like in the sizzle reel. But it actually seems like it's more of like a puzzler game.
Sure.
I think I'm okay with that. I like Wild Frost, but I think I would like this more than Wild Frost only because I think I would like the puzzle solving element of it more.
That's fair.
But I don't know.
It's cool. All right.
We'll see what else comes along.
We have a guidebook of Babel. I can't get over the art style. I'm sure. I mean, the rewriting time mechanic seems pretty cool, but this just looks like a very wholesome PBS show animation that I would be ecstatic that my daughter's watching over the shit she watches on YouTube. Beyond that, there's just it doesn't feel like there's any conflict or any plot and to need to rewrite the story. I don't know. It just seems really, really bland to me.
It was funny because this whole time I was watching it, I was like, this is going to be almost on the bottom of my list because it looks not appealing in the slightest.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, there's time travel mechanics and you can change the past to like change the future. And I'm like, okay, I really like mechanics like that.
Sure.
So I have to move it up a little bit for that. But God, it does not
How
have
much?
the game that I want to play. Like,
yeah.
I put it above Gibbon and below Soundfall. Which it's like 12, 13, 14, somewhere near the bottom.
Okay.
That mechanic could be the coolest thing in the world, but like, God, is it shelled in a game that is not appealing in the slightest to me.
Right. There's nothing about that seemed like jump out and play me. And
Right.
it's like the like I said, like it just kind of looks like a stale PBS show.
Yeah, and no disrespect to the artists or the team. They made
Right.
the decision. They like what they have, obviously, but I do not find it sufficient to hook me. It did not hook me until they were like, you can do the butterfly effect and change the way that it happened, and I'm
Right.
like,
I would
that's a cool
love
mechanic.
to
that
see
I'd love
that
to see
in a
somewhere
completely
else.
different game. Exactly.
Yep,
Exactly.
It's like I'd love to see the mechanic used somewhere else.
Alright.
Man,
Let's see what else we have. I think we have one or two
great
more.
mechanic too, because like Chrono Trigger has been showing me lately that you can do really cool shit with
Ooh,
time
boy.
travel mechanics.
It
But-
sure does. All right, just gonna nudge to see what the next trailer is here. Okay.
「あれからどのぐらい経ったのだろうか。66年前、エイダと出会った年のこと。
66 years.
ここは多分流脈の中心だからきっと聞こえるはず。
我が指は流脈を指し、我が手は天地をかける音を紡がう。僕が守るから。
私が守ってるの。
エイダの話だから見てみたい。
おしゃべり荷物め。
もういい。
あなたとなんて出会わなければよかった。
流脈を探すのはあんたらのお箱じゃなかった。
流脈は諦めなさい。お前に何ができる？流脈で屍になるだけだ。
絶対に見つかるもん。
流脈は常に活路あり。奏でましょう。流脈を追い続ければいつか彼女にたどり着ける。私はそう信じている。
必ず故郷に来てもらうわ。私が大好きなところ。
Could you imagine putting a 10-second trailer together and slapping it on an indie world? This game, this is like, I'm there. I'm telling you right now, this is my number one. I'm going to be open 100%. You've got your story, you've got emotion, you've got character building, you've got ship customization, science fiction. There's fucking emotion. The art style's fucking phenomenal. 100% there for that. I'm buying it after this stream.
There you go. I'm so torn on it because like it's sort of the same thing with like We Are OFK, where like visually what they're doing, like in this particular case, it's this whole trailer to me was like mostly visual, and I loved every second of it. It feels like a Ghibli movie. It feels like like Your Name. I'm gonna make you watch. It feels like that kind of thing. Incredible. But I didn't see like any gameplay. I saw like the ship customization thing, and like some like walking around hallways maybe. But like I want to know if the game's gonna actually be fun to play or not. And
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's holding me
the
back from
only
like
thing
putting
I
it right in my number one spot.
saw was some puzzle solving.
Yeah.
I want to see more, but I could just aesthetically, I want to be in this universe.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm
absolutely.
at right now with this.
That's what kills me is that should have been that 2-minute trailer could have been the last thing they do. You
That
know, they
should
like go, okay, we're gonna wrap up, but wait, we have one more thing. It could have been that. And this
That
would have been
is
fine.
100% where that belonged. At the end
Yeah,
of this
absolutely.
full trailer, not a 10-second blurb and a fucking sizzle reel. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I agree. I think it will, out of all the games on this list, I think it will be my number one, so I'm going to stick it there.
Fair.
Because I think that there's no way they can botch the gameplay so hard that I wouldn't enjoy being in this game at all.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Not seeing any gameplay.
Making that game too, because that did not seem like indie quality. That seemed really high up there on the quality scale. Sigono? Oh, they've done other games before.
What's up?
They've done other games.
Let's see what they've done.
They've done other games in a series called Opus. Opus Rocket of Whispers, Opus The Day We Found Earth.
Interesting.
I might have to look into these people.
100%. I'm gonna go follow them on Twitter like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the Nintendo Direct.
And they were in a sizzle. They were in 10 seconds.
Can you imagine? Like, if I was at
That's
Nintendo, like,
wild.
are you sure you guys don't want to like either lead or close with this? Because like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
absolutely. Jesus. What a weird take, Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it launched the same day and they just like sizzle reeled it.
Yep.
What?
Worst thing they could have done with this game was just like, oh, by the way.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay. All right. So that is the Indie Direct 2022. We talked about them. We built our lists. I did a top 5 and I have a couple runners up. That's kind of where I'm at with it here. Would you like to do your number? Well, actually, let's do our number 5s.
Okay, sure.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Another Crab's Treasure.
Okay, great. That is also on my top 5, but Gunbrella was my number 5.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. I think the art style prevented it from really being way up higher on that list.
Agreed. I
but
could see that for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
What's your top
Absolutely.
4?
My number 4 was One Shot, World Machine Edition.
Interesting. All right. Well, my number 4 was Wild Shot. I don't think that made your top 5, but I think with my personal enjoyment of that Adventure Time game, that really kind of clicked with me, and I definitely want to give this a shot. I'm always looking for games that kind of like kill, like some time killing games. I think deck builders are a great way to do that. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued and interested by that.
Wild Frost?
Yes. What did I say?
Okay. I think you said Wild Shot.
Wild
what
Shot.
is it? Oh, yeah. Okay,
Wild
Wild
Frost.
Frost. The card
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
card game is one of my 2 runners up. I have it in spot 7 right now.
Gotcha.
And the only reason they got pushed down, I think the main difference between your list and my list is I have a big like game boner for like Metroidvanias.
Mm-hmm.
So like Curse Golf, Elect Head, and Gunbrella are all a couple slots higher than your list probably because of that.
It's possible.
I think it's a big thing that probably separates our lists.
Sure. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Gunbrella.
Excellent. Excellent. Mine was One Shot. I put mine a little higher than...
We're right around the same area.
Yeah. So, I really liked the way they kind of did that computer interface. It's kind of got like that... I want to say like a post-apocalyptic feel to it, almost.
Yeah.
The artwork looks phenomenal. The combat and everything about that game really looks great. And
For one job,
I'm
Well,
definitely.
I just love like the whole like outside the computer, like seeing the files and stuff too. That's such a cool mechanic that you
I
don't see
love it.
very often.
Right. Outside of like Doki Doki Literature Club and maybe like say for like a handful
Like
of
Undertale
other.
had a little bit of it.
Right. All
Where
right.
like Undertale had a little bit of it at the end where like the boss could like overwrite your save file and use it against you and stuff.
Right.
But they didn't touch on it much, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is a Lek Head.
Interesting. Mine was another Crab's Treasure.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be. I think there's going to be a lot of humor in that game, and I'm there for that weird, goofy humor. And like I said, with me following Aggro Crab on social media, everything that comes out of their mouth is fucking hilarious and ridiculous. It seems like they show up to a lot of gaming community things, like developer community things, and they're just, I won't want to say assholes, but they're very they very much stand out. But I think I'll enjoy it. Hopefully it's not as Souls as they say it is, but yeah, I'm definitely there to check that out.
Yeah, I think the Souls like pushed it down a couple notches for me, combined with me putting the Metroidvanias higher.
Right. And I don't know. I kind of regret putting it at number 2, but I think I'm going to eat my words on it, and I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely at least be picking it up. I can guarantee you this will be either limited run or super rare games. We'll get a physical copy of this, and I'll be all over it. I'll probably wait for that to pick that up.
For sure.
All right, and what's your number 1?
Opus Echo of Star Song.
Yeah, I'm 100% there.
It's very, to me, it very much screams like Makoto Shinkai, Mamoru Hosoda, Studio Ghibli. Anything good in anime right now feels like it's bleeding into that project, and as long as the gameplay is not garbage, which it didn't look like it would be, I think it'll stay there for me.
Yeah, I think it's got
to the point where I actually want to look up this other ones they've made and see if they're worth picking up like now.
Yeah, we're going on an adventure after this stream.
Absolutely.
That is for sure. But I definitely, like I said, I mean, this seems like the most complete game on this entire list. The storytelling looks like it's going to be very engaging. The character development looks like it's going to be pretty cool. There's definitely a lot of story, a lot of emotion. The soundtrack sounds amazing. The design aesthetic of the ships and the upgrading the ships. So we know that there's going to be some kind of combat. It almost reminds me of a game called Endless Space that was on the DS. It was one of the last best games on the DS ever made, and I never got to finish that, but that was really cool, and it kind of gives me those kind of vibes. Yeah, I can't not put that at number 1. This is almost like, what is it doing in an indie world? But I get why it's there.
Absolutely.
I think this is, if this game does well, this is going to be like a breakout company. And I'm very excited to play this game because I'm going to be playing it tonight, and we'll be talking about it next podcast.
Echo of Star Song, I just looked it up on Steam. It's been available on Steam since August 31st of 2021. And the all-time Steam reviews, well, the recent Steam reviews are 95% positive, overwhelmingly positive. And the all-time reviews are 97% of 4,400 reviews, overwhelmingly positive.
There you go.
They clearly did something right.
100%.
And it looks like there's a bundle for $70 that seems to include several games in the Opus series, as well as like art books and music and things.
Nice.
There's a lot of options to buy the game, and games related, it looks like. That's cool. This might be one of those developers. Sigono might be one of those few developers that I actually follow on Steam. If they're putting out good games like this that are hitting high favorability that really pull to me, then...
Sure.
Oh, Rocket of Whispers is a free prologue. So there you go. You can mess around with that.
Definitely.
And Opus Rocket of Whispers and Opus The Day We Found Earth are both only $9 right now.
There you go.
And they both have, they both have very positive reviews overall.
Cool. Yeah, I think I found a new series I might really enjoy. So that was worth the surprise. I'm glad that we got to sit here and watch those longer trailers, because that scissor reel did some of these games absolutely zero justice.
I would say, aren't you glad there was like 8 seconds of like just random music playing while they like that was the best part, right? Because the sizzle reel was just playing wacky music over all the gameplay,
right?
So it was just like this like this like well drawn animated thing with like the heart wrenching music, and they were just like, we're gonna put wacky music over it, and play like 8 seconds of it,
right?
But wait a minute, well, okay, I don't want to be that guy, but really that game and One Shot were both buried in that sizzle reel. But we got a segment for Tabs where we talked to the developers about Tabs.
A game that was, since it was out, they developed it in 2016. It's been on Steam for years.
Yeah, so why did that get a whole segment?
I don't know. I don't know. I almost wondering, like, it comes down to budgeting. Like, they've got to be paying more money to get those longer segments.
Yes, it's a weird push to be like, hey guys, we're gonna sit down and talk to the Tabs developers about Wobblies,
right?
And then like, oh by the way, Opus Echo Star Song, overwhelmingly positive game for the last like 8 months. Yeah, put it bury it underneath some wacky music in the last 5 seconds of the sizzle.
Yep. All right. Well, I enjoyed doing that. I'm hoping that we get to do more of these kind of longer format podcasts, especially with these kind of reviews. I enjoyed doing like the top 5 thing. I think we had a good time.
Dude, like this was just to whet the appetite for the real big hitter, which is going to be in June when we get to react to the Xbox showcase, and we can sort our top 3 games that they show, because it's going to be 3 games.
None of them first party.
It's gonna okay. Yeah, it's gonna be what's your top 5 games? You can't put any third-party games in there, and we're gonna be like, Forza.
Yeah.
Forza number 1. What was your number 1? It was also Forza. Okay, yeah, that was the only game on the list that was first party.
Forza 2.
Forza 2. Oh my god.
That's where we are with that. All right, let's move on to upcoming game releases, and it is a great week to catch up on your back catalog. We have Amorogan. Oh man, Amora. I should have tried to pronounce this before stream. Umuragni Generation. Man, I butchered that shit. That is coming on the Xbox XS, Xbox One, May 17th. So if you are a Game Pass owner, there's a game. Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. That is coming May 19th. And Dolmen, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, and that's coming out May 20th. That sums up this week. That's it. So, like I said, this is a great week to catch up on some back catalog games. If you have them, go out and do that. And yeah, let me know in the comments if any of those pique your interest. And let me know in the comments, too, what your favorite games are from that Switch reel. For as many people that want to shit on indie games, there was a lot of hot ones in there. I'm telling you right now. So,
but dude, all these look like art. Why would I want that?
Imagine criticizing something for looking like art. All right, let's go on to our This Week in Gaming History segment. We have a big list this week. Big old juicy list, which is strange because historically this seems like a big week in gaming, yet we have 3 games coming out this week. So let's dive in. We have Fire Emblem Echoes Shadow of Valentia on the 3DS that came out 5 years ago. Probably one of the last big titles to come out on the 3DS, because obviously 5 years ago the Switch has already actually been out at this point. But I always encourage people to go out and play the Fire Emblem games on the 3DS. They're phenomenal games. I like them better than what we got with Three Houses. So take that for what it's worth. 7 years ago, we got Witcher 3. That came out on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. 11 years ago, we had LA Noire come out on the PS3 and Xbox. That was 11 years ago. Alan Wake, that came out 12 years ago on the Xbox 360. That is getting a remake. And we're probably going to be talking about that in short form here. We have Red Dead Redemption. That came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360 12 years ago. Punch Out on the Wii came out 13 years ago. New Super Mario Bros. DS came out 16 years ago. Grand Theft Auto 3 came out on the PC 20 years ago. And we have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. That was the pod racing game that came out on N64 23 years ago. And 37 years ago, Nintendo counterclaimed against Universal Studios for legal fees against the infamous Donkey Kong lawsuit, where Universal took them to court for copyright violations because of the similarities between King Kong and Donkey Kong, which they ultimately lost. And if you have Netflix, there's a good documentary. It's a multi-episode documentary on general history of gaming, and they go over that whole lawsuit, I think, in the first or second episode. It's pretty cool to watch. I would definitely check that out. That was before Nintendo was a big company, and that was like a make or break. If they lost that lawsuit, that would have buried that company. It would have buried Nintendo. That would have been it for them. So
right,
that's what we have for this week in gaming. And we are, boy, it's late.
Yeah.
So
ran along with the direct, but
hey, I had fun with that. That's why I didn't pile a bunch of other stories on here. So our social media, or at least my social media, is Game Dude Retro at Twitter and Instagram. Retro Game Dude at Twitch and TikTok. Daisuke, where can we find you, and what are you streaming this week?
You can find me down here in Gator Country. No, you can find me here on Twitch at Phoenix_Aurora_Gaming. And tomorrow I will be doing more Chrono Trigger. For those of you who are familiar with the game, I'm in the part of the game, the Faded Hour, I believe it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like where you can do side quests and all the stuff before the end of the game. Yep. So I'm just running around doing nonsense, saving women's legs and whatnot, like you do.
Oh yeah, same for this guy. All right. Yeah, so definitely go tune in, follow him, watch his streams. I've been pushing him to play Chrono Trigger for a long time, and I'm glad to see that he is liking it. So it's good shit.
Yeah.
Good shit. Welcome to the cult.
My favorite part of Chrono Trigger was the part where I stopped right before it got good and then didn't play it for 2 months.
And then your computer just crashed, so you couldn't play it.
Dude, I couldn't believe I started a stream of Chrono Trigger. And I was like, yeah, Chrono Trigger stream, and then it crashed. And you were like, oh, I didn't even see it. And I was like, yeah, it crashed like as soon as I started playing.
Oh man.
And then it was like another couple weeks or whatever where I didn't play.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's okay, because once this is done, then I can watch you stream Chrono Cross and not feel bad, because I'll beat in Chrono Trigger.
True. If I don't play this Opus game next, because holy shit.
Dude,
it
seems
so good.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah. The question is, do we start at the first one, or are they separate stories? I imagine they're separate stories.
I imagine they're separate, but sometimes you get like in the movie Weathering with You, you can see in the movie Weathering with You, there's cameos from Your Name, so you don't have to watch them in order, but watching them in order is a little more rewarding to have the cameos. You know what I mean?
Fair.
And that might be the case here. Like, you might have cameos to like what happened in the prior games in the current game or something.
Right. Cool. All right. Schedule-wise, of course, on Sundays at 9 p.m., we are the SuperScope podcast. You know what we do here, if you've been watching. Tuesday and Wednesday again this week will be Lego Star Wars at 9 o'clock. And of course, this Saturday is our party game stream night. So we'll be playing games like Jackbox, Quiplash, Use Your Words. If I can get riff tracks working, we'll be playing that as well. I expect if I can get it working, that'll probably be the first thing we play that week, that Saturday, and we'll go from there. So that's all we've got tonight. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in, hanging out. I hope everyone enjoyed our reviews on the indie games. I had a lot of fun with that, and I hope to do more of those in the future. So that's it. So we'll see you guys next week, and you guys have a good one.